a slightly tighter time frame than our last campaign. By just a smidge, I would say. We have a slightly tighter timetable on this one, so it's entirely possible that if you are watching this, you have seen all of the Prince of Charming, which is kind of phenomenal. Okay. I'm gonna do my best here. We gotta move, right? We don't want to spend 20 minutes on this, so it'll be somewhat light. But we are gonna move through. Okay. I have my consolidated notes. I have my unconsolidated note, I believe. All right. So our adventure began. If my calculations are correct, less than 48 hours ago. We discovered our merry band of heroes here, all of them brought to the town of Charming, Mississippi by various different means. Thomas was here to investigate Charles for his strange, potentially cryptid nature. Jessica was attending Brightview College, located in the small town of Charming, Mississippi. And Connor was here investigating, ironically, Thomas, who was investigating Charles, because Connor, as a member of the FBI, is looking into strange happenings in our sort of early 90s setting. Jim Duggins, for those first few episodes, was just sort of prowling in the grass, not yet joined, but having his own sort of modus operandi. As we discover that Charles is not any significant threat, we are still baffled by the impossibly high temperatures of Charming, Mississippi, and the fact that person, have started to go missing. Over the course of the next 24 hours, that missing persons case turns into a murdered persons case. Somebody stabbed 24 times, correct? Somebody stabbed 24 times, and tire marks, skid marks left on the road almost impossibly next to the body. At that same time as that news spreads out across all of us, the college is supposed to be opened, and we meet our first person who will turn out in due time to be a villain, the president of the college, who has a name, and it's Brian Pierce. Brian Pierce insists that the college be closed, and that people are sent away, assumably whatever plan they have. Brian already had his machinations well in still. At this same moment, Jessica, who has been strangely connected to an otherworldly figure after an unfortunate incident with a Ouija board, disrupts her cheerleading practice, which heads off to the park without her. And that is where our second person goes missing. One of the cheerleaders vanishes. A bunch of other stuff happens that we are going to kind of have to condense and set to the side. The other body is found out back of a deli, making the first point of what will turn out to be a pentagram carved over over the city of Charming. We follow Jessica as she sort of deals with some of this psychic strangeness and begins to go look for this other person that has gone missing. In that moment, through various means, the rest of us sort of slowly gather together, realizing that we are all investigating the same things without knowing that we are doing so, and we split up to look for this other missing person, having found signs that they had been kidnapped. Eventually, Thomas does find them alone, and is stabbed as he tries to prevent them from being further stabbed. We discover that the mayor of the town, I can't remember his first name, but his last name is Flag, so I will just say Mayor Flag, is stabbing this body. Thomas confronts Flag, gets stabbed a few times, runs out into the street, and thankfully not Jim Duggins. Jim, I keep thinking you're the sheriff. Sheriff Joe Woodard hits the mayor of town with his car and kills him. And we go to the hospital. At that same time, Jessica, Charles, and Connor go in search of one of the other cheerleaders who has also been targeted. They got a real thing for cheerleaders. And they find Brian Pierce in the woods in pursuit of this cheerleader. Eventually, we have to briefly sort of give up the search, not finding them. Right. Good gravy. We've done a lot. There is a small gap in my memory here. I know that the next important thing that happens is that we all go back to the school and we meet first for the first time as a full group William Graham, the son of the head of the historical society in town. But I know that things happened between those two moments, and I do not remember what they. I do remember Connor goes back to the school with Charles and Jessica, and they subdue Brian Pierce, kind of kidnap him a little and bring him to the sheriff and Thomas, who have arrived together. We all speak. Brian Pierce, believing that the plan has gone off without a hitch, gives up the ghost. It turns out that Brian Pierce and these various other members of this secret society all go to the same church and are trying desperately to end the world, to bring about revelations, so that they assume, as people in their positions of power do, that, of course, everything will be better and more cool for them if that does come to pass. From that point, we go back to the school. We meet up with Will Graham. Charles runs into the woods. He finds Emily in an extra dimensional cabin that exists and does not exist, and is attacked by a dead cheerleader wielding a stone. If memory serves, that is our first sighting of this creature directly, knowing what we have seen. We arrive back from that. Jim Duggins arrives hot on the scene, interrupting the conversation going on inside of the school. And we are introduced to this sort of World War II era mad lad who is armed to the teeth. We then get a call from Sheriff Joe Woodard that he needs help right away. There's trouble at the hospital. We go to the hospital and discover that whatever this evil monster is, it is a body-hopping murderer that has to use stones to kill, but it is clever enough to know that a diamond-tipped scalpel is kind of a rock if you think about it like an idiot. And so it is just carving people up with that. After a series of shotgun blasts, psychic attacks, and a bunch of nonsense, we all manage to get out of the hospital, only to discover that the fire alarm that has been going off has summoned no firefighters because the church that this evil group has had been meeting at, had been burned down. William Graham has a moment of anxiety as he has started to put together that he might be at the center of this terrible cultish ritual. In fact, Jessica having already communed with him mentally and revealed for a fact that he is the center of this. We go to the church nonetheless, which in hindsight, thinking about this as a full recap, was an insane choice. We brought him with us. Why did we do that? We go there to find the church burned down, and unfortunately the assembled members of this nefarious group kind of already dealt with. They will not live to see their plan come to fruition. We discover the place where the witch that was stuck, or maybe free in being trapped in Jessica and a few other people's minds, had been held captive, kept in permanent running water to subdue her power below, kept in a state of eternal drowning so that she could be interrogated for information on how to end the world. Learning that, we go back upstairs, we re-enter into the conversation with William Graham, who reveals that his home is actually the sort of center of his father's operation. We go there, and in that moment realize that his home is also the center of a giant pentagram marked by the 5 bodies that have been dumped at various sites across Charming. Good gravy. Thomas and Charles go to drive Emily, the cheerleader, home. On the way, we encounter another of these deados, and that's really bad. Not much else happened on that little non sequitur. We discovered another of these deados and put it in the ground, and Thomas' psychic powers sort of alert themselves and awaken in this moment, while Connor, Jim, and Jessica do something actually plot relevant and go to the house and sort of begin to unravel the mystery proper for the first time, breaking into the study of William Graham's father, discovering these black obsidian knives, and his own personal ripcord plan. It would seem that for all that he was sort of the preacher in the room, he had his doubts and had a plan to get out, which was to pack up his stuff, pack up some money, grab Cain, drag him to the Mississippi and kill him in its waters, and then flee the country, if memory serves. He was just going to head out. He was going to head out all together. Jessica, after a little bit of psychic communication, realizes that that means that if that was his get-out plan, that's also our get-out plan. And incidentally, we discover that William Graham is not his father's child. He is from another part of the country. Nicole was committed in the moment that it was Salem, Massachusetts, and that she was mad that that was true. At that time, Jim Duggins gets a call on the radio from Joe Woodard, the man who I confuse him with all the time, explaining that every dead body on the ground or in a morgue in Charming has gotten up and is headed towards Shady Grove. And that, to my recollection, is where we left off. Kept it to a tight 12 minutes. Whoa! Also, and maybe the saddest news of all, we never went to Planet Pizza. It's the third thing Spencer narrated in the whole campaign. He was describing Charming and he talked about Planet Pizza, and we never went to a space themed pizza restaurant in a small southern town. Planet Pizza was right there. That'll be our Avengers post credit scene falafel. Ours will be a large pepperoni. Damn. Now I have an unrelated question. You said that we level up. Do we automatically gain the amount of experience we would need to level up, or do we keep our current level of experience? Thank you. Some of us need to put our thinking caps on. I hope that works out. Um, there we go. My greatest dream just activated my trap card. I, with my level up use, retire this hunter to safety. Thomas leaves. He gets in his car and he never comes back, you dumb son of a bitch. I, I roll up with a level 1 Joe Wood. That would be I have a costume change right here. You have no idea. That would be hilarious. Thomas Buck has had the same dream since he was 18 years old. He wants to find the thing that caused his school and town to burn down. He wants to find the thing that made him an orphan. He doesn't even necessarily want to kill it. He just wants to understand what happened that day. That is what he's been doing ever since. Purple cone flower. I have the most exciting news I've ever delivered, Connor. I don't even know how to tell you. Hold your breath. Um, Hell yeah, Jess. Did anybody take anything exciting on their level up? I went shopping hungry a little bit. I took two advanced moves, and my two advanced moves are use magic and kick some ass. I went shopping hungry. I was like, I know what we're gonna need for this little chestnut. I'm gonna button this thing up real quick. Spencer, if I use magic to banish Gain immediately, what's the rest of the session look like? You banish them to the next body. That's what I figured. I do need to say what I'm about to say is a joke, and we are in no way affiliated with the Disney Corporation. Spencer, it's weird that you did such a big Agatha all along tie-in. Like, it's kind of weird that you did this big ARG. That's sort of how did you get into that? Like, was that they gave it to Gay? I was wondering. Connor, Connor, that's huge. I thought that's what you were gonna go with. I wasn't sure. Oh, gun with rock bullets. There's some. Witches Ex Machina is the name of my new pop punk band, which I'm excited about. We simply must begin. I can't take this anymore. We simply. Thomas Thomas is driving 110 miles an hour. At this point, Thomas should have stopped to Price Chopper and picked up some carrots. Sorry, to Food Lion and picked up some carrots for Charles or something. Yeah, 1 to 6 fail, 7 to 9 mixed success, 10 plus complete success, 12 plus if you have the advanced move gives you some extra. The this is just unrelated. They just came out with two new Monster of the Week books in a Kickstarter, and you get it. And I learned that we don't use the +1 -1 forward mechanic enough because it comes with a little coin that you put in front of you to indicate if you have +1 or -1 forward. And I was like, I don't use that mechanic at all when I run. Whoopsie. So that's cool. Charles, as Thomas looks over and sees Charles sweating, he'll blink a few times and go, Charles, I think you've been detecting this strangeness this whole time. As we're ripping by, it occurs to Thomas that Charles's pangs of fear here have been him knowing what was coming this whole time. Damn, man, if you ever get the impulse to buy a lotto ticket, get it. Pick it up as we're driving down the road. Um, oh, does he get? Can he get a call on the radio just about now? I think what you get first is hey, what's up? The dead Oh wait, no, what's up? This is Thomas. The dead bodies are up and they are running now and burning houses. And, oh shit, and you hear like a as he has to like whip out of the way of something. I hope they were already dead as he's just feeling. And he's a bad boy, Jessica? What? Woo. Jessica finds a replica of the sword from Conan. Just, oh no. No. That's the only, weirdly, the only thing that's the only chain. Everything else is a butterfly effect from Conan the Barbarian being real. The Legend of Zelda asked. Sorry, you just found a longsword and a capital B bomb, like an orb with a string, like no bomb in real life has ever been. I love that. Yes. Great. I get out of the car and I run towards the front door because I have no reason to expect that they would trap the bottom floor that I'm going to come in through. Oh, wait. I know that Connor is Connor, and so I run towards the front door with my hands entirely above my head like this, yelling, "I'm not dead, I'm not dead, I'm not dead," at the top of my lungs. Wait. Pause. Pause. I think our audio cut out on YouTube. Is it? It still shows me as not being able to hear. Sorry, technical difficulties. Apologies. Okay, I have to scrub back because no, so I can't hear. Ooh. I am scrubbing back through the YouTube. I can't hear you guys. It's been showing your audio thing to me this whole time, but I don't think YouTube can hear you. Can we download off Twitch? Hey, everybody, sorry about that. Hey, we have two viewers. You can only hear me right now. I'm so sorry. You've tuned in during a technical difficulty. I cannot hear my fellow cohort. I'm trying to figure that out right now. I have no reason to understand why that would happen, though. I know. I don't. It's been showing you fine the whole time. It literally just stopped showing you, but you haven't had audio like this whole time. People have just been listening to it. We have two viewers. Shout out to you two for just sort of listening to me talk. That's kind of great. I appreciate it. I guess they thought this was like some real performance art. I can either hang up. I can either end the stream and kick it back up, and we can see if that works, or I can try to troubleshoot as we continue to play. But Twitch can hear us and YouTube does not. Whoever that is, check out our Twitch, Foolhardy Press on Twitch, because I'm so sorry you cannot hear our fantastic GM. They did leave. Okay, so heads up, headed towards the Twitch. What do you guys want to do? I can either end the stream or I can troubleshoot for a little while we continue to play. Okay, I'll kick over to starting soon. I do need to keep our audio on so that I can know if we can hear. So I'm going to do bio break. If you are listening now, I'm just going to kind of keep yammering at you while I try to figure out what the heck is going on. It's just not registering you guys as desktop audio. That's not fun. If I go to desktop audio, I'm going to go to properties, device default.
Using it as like headset.
Yeah. Okay. Yep, that worked. I have no idea. We've never had that problem before, ever.
Gotcha, fam.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Party Makes Things Worse, the Prince of Charming edition, post technical difficulties. We had an audio mishap, which happens to the best of us. So you heard the dulcet tones of Ethan's voice and nobody else's,
And I
which
can't
I think is
stress
very
enough,
funny.
somebody did stay.
Yeah, shout out.
Somebody did watch you all mouth like Muppets.
It was very avant-garde, I'd say. So here's the recap of what you missed so far. We all talked about our hopes and dreams. Ethan gave a very sizable recap that you all can actually hear, so that's great. Uh, we jumped into the game itself with Charles and Thomas on the road, ripping through to Shady Grove. Charles had to have his prey fight or flight roll as he entered into the limits of Shady Grove itself. He failed that, or he had a mixed success, I believe. Mixed success. So he continued forward, but he has a -1 going on, ongoing until this is dealt with. As long as he's within Shady Grove, he has a -1. Otherwise, inside the building, we had Will Graham, the person who is partially possessed, that Jessica and the gang are trying to save, posted up in a bird's nest, looking down, keeping watch over the town's limits. Connor up above him with a sniper rifle, keeping a wider view. Jim setting up traps in the house itself, and Jessica pilfering the ancient wares of this collector's home, finding a sword with ancient inscriptions, a toy soldier, a wind-up toy soldier from Sumeria, ancient Sumeria, and a bomb, a clay pot bomb that is clearly well over several hundred years old at the very least, and has gathered them up and gone to the staircase with a shotgun leveled to blast anybody who walks into the front door. At the last moment, as Thomas and Charles were pulling up, they saw plumes of smoke rising from the houses nearby, glass shattering out, and the dead, now possessed by Cain, running through the streets, entering into these homes. Thomas and Charles pulled up to the house, jumped out, and were stopped by Will from entering into the front where Jim had trapped the front door and said instead, come up the lattice work. Also, maybe they would have caught a stray bullet from Jessica. Who's to say that future was avoided? That is everything that's happened so far. We jump into the moment. Thomas and Charles, you begin ascending this lattice work. Charles offered to Thomas to guard the front as Thomas started going up. Charles, you turn around and you do see one form running towards you. Connor, go ahead and roll act under pressure. You're going to shoot this form.
Cool. Let's see. Acting under pressure.
You guys have a real sniper spotter thing going on up there that I'm a huge fan of.
Oh yeah.
Will and
Alright,
Connor,
so-
it's good. It's powerful.
So that is a 4 plus 5 plus 3. So a
12.
12.
That's a full success. Go ahead and roll your. You don't have to roll damage. What is the damage for your sniper rifle? 3?
It's a 4.
4. Yeah, you.
I also would like to do my new move.
Do you do the wanted style bullet twist and it hits like 3 of these people at once? What are you doing?
It's my the community didn't hear because the level ups. I took a new move. The precision shooting from the experts. Precise shot. When inflicts harm on a monster, you can aim for a weak spot. Roll plus tough. Plus 10, you inflict an additional 2 harm. 7 and 9, you inflict 1 harm. On a miss, you leave yourself open to the monster.
Yeah, go ahead and roll that tough roll.
That was a 12.
Yeah, so that's an additional 2 damage, so 6 damage.
6 harm.
You line up this shot, seeing Charles down, trying to defend himself and keep Thomas safe. Will calls out essentially the position there, and you line it on this chimney and get ready, pull the trigger, and as you do, this form like trips forward just slightly. And as it trips, your line goes perfectly through the top of the head into the body, and it goes and lands on the ground.
It
Fully dead.
volcanoes.
Yeah, it collapses in on itself and hits the ground. But there's bad news as well, as several more of these forms start sprinting out all at once. Where before you were seeing one body controlled at a time, now you have no idea what the limit is of this monster's power. Charles, you are looking around here as you see Thomas step onto that last step of the lattice, pull himself over. Thomas, what weapon are you going to pull while you're up here? Do you have any ranged weaponry?
Me?
Yeah.
I have only one ranged weapon, and this is not a joke, and it is my mind.
Hell
That is
yeah.
all Thomas has.
You do the Professor Xavier pose.
Yeah, so Thomas has two moves, two that he can do, and it's his burn everything's. And given our sort of past with his psionics and what we've seen, he the two options I've elected is that number one, he has a sort of generic force push, and then the other that he has not used yet is what he saw those long years ago. And so is somebody attacking? I missed just a little bit because I was
No,
checking
no.
something.
Most of the forms that have popped up so far have been dealt with, but you see several of them running towards you all at once. This was more of a question for me to have answered because I didn't know what long range weaponry you had.
Yeah, Thomas is gonna look out over the landscape, and he's going to sort of lock eyes with one of these figures. Not lock eyes. He just looks at one of them, and that is close-ish, and he's gonna do something he's seen somebody do before. He has no way of knowing if it will work or not, and he just kind of stares at them. And one of his hands goes out, and he's gonna try. So this is a question for you. I have my other burn everything option is 3 harm, ignore armor, magic obvious.
Yes.
It says nothing about range.
Mm-hmm.
What did you say? Adding range, does that add some difficulty? Do we feel like that would be a normal use magic roll? How does it being at range affect his ability to do it? Because there's no range specified. It doesn't say close, close or far. It just says use magic.
I would say close is going to be just regular roll. Obviously, that's shotgun distance. I think once you get past like 50 yards, you're going to be rolling with a -1.
I'll take that. 50
on your
yards is
next.
so much further than I thought you were going to say.
Yeah,
I
and
guess
when
it
you
makes
when you
sense
get
though,
a
because
football field,
people throw magic in Buffy.
Yeah,
Like they throw it like across
exactly.
the football field. Yeah, he's gonna give it a whirl and just see if it works.
Yeah.
I rolled double sixes.
It works.
That's a 15, and I have advanced use magic, so you, quote, need to give me an offer for an added benefit.
Here's my offer. It was 3 harm.
Yeah.
It would not kill this creature. This spell work you're doing, the psychic energy. I'm going to say you get the extra damage necessary to kill this in one move.
So Thomas reaches out, and he is kind of afraid that it will work. He is hoping it doesn't. He reaches out and is sincerely in his mind. He's like, nope, just don't. It's fine. I can figure it out. Just don't. Nope. And he holds out his hand, and that body immolates. It turns into a column of flame in front of his face, as all of a sudden, like, he can't affect them, but all of their clothing and everything on them just erupts into fire. And Thomas's own body starts to like let off so much heat that like a little steam starts to like lift off of himself, and he like, shit. That's all. He just says that, and that's the only thing he says when it happens, and then turns and starts to scramble up towards the house.
As your magic lets loose in this way for the very first time, it's like floodgates open in your mind. Where before you would like touch the energies in a space and it would zap you slightly, this is like grabbing onto a lightning rod in the middle of a storm. It rushes through you as this flame catches. In a very real way, it feels like you are back at your high school in that moment. And you say shit, and you turn and start scrambling away. And that thing immolates in seconds.
Yeah. Thomas has seen
We
this
jump.
before, and he's not happy about it.
Connor, you see one of these things just catch on fire through your
Yeah.
scope. You were about ready to shoot it, and it.
I make a mental note.
Yeah, you see this go off, and suddenly you are ensconced. You are covered. There are the writhing masses of the dead approaching you. You see at least a dozen of them right now rushing the house. You start shooting. Will start shooting. Charles, they are getting close to you now. You see Thomas get over the top and immolate this one creature. What do you do?
Well, still in Shady Groves, but at least I won't be touching the ground of Shady Groves if I go up. So I start climbing up behind and following Thomas.
How high do you think you have to get before that fear? Is it like plane height enough, or do you think for the 30 seconds you'd be over, you go, oh, and then it'd go away? Because I really don't have an answer.
I feel like it's kind of like when you're like running down that hallway in like a nightmare or something, and like it constantly stretches out to the infinite, but it's still like looming behind you. So it feels like I'm getting away from it, but making no progress and actually like distancing myself.
Just on you're running on a treadmill here.
Yeah.
I have a weird answer that I think is correct. I think if you were tall enough that falling would definitely kill you. I think you're not in Shady Grove. I think if you get to I think if you get past, because people can fall off of a 2-story building and you might snap both your. I think if you go to the 4th story of an office building, I think it would kind of start to slacken a little bit.
It's a good point. So you start climbing up. Charles, one of these creatures, I need you to roll to act under pressure as they are getting close. You see the whites of their eyes and the whites of their teeth as they are approaching.
I feel bad for whatever monster grabs Charles' 5 harm hoof wearing.
Yeah.
Self. It's not.
So I got a 10 -1 from the forward. So a 9 total for act under pressure.
Yeah. With a 9, you have your ankle grabbed and you start to get pulled down by one of these creatures. Your hard choice here is this is more of a price to pay. You can make it up this lattice work, but you're going to take damage as it just rips into your ankle.
Yeah, I think I'm just gonna kind of tense myself up, sort of twist in the air and just descend on it then.
Yeah, you twist in the air and descend. Roll to kick some ass.
Yeah. That is 14 -1 to 13. And that's one of the ones I got expert in for advanced.
Oh, nice. All right, so what do you do with advanced?
I think maybe
What move do you have advanced in?
kick some ass.
Well, it's rare that you play this far into these games, so I'll let our audience now and in the future know the advanced kick some ass moves are all devastating. You completely hold the advantage. All hunters involved in the fight get +1 forward, which is crazy. You suffer no harm at all. Your attack inflicts double harm. Your attack drives the enemy away in a rout. They are devastating.
Yeah, I guess I'll probably let out a bleeding roar as I descend to give everyone else a +1 forward.
Oh yeah, and you also get a +1 forward, so that negates your prey drive. A more animalistic predator drive rips out of you as you decide instead of running, you go in to fight, and that negates that -1.
Yeah, so he just lets out that roar, and it is unnaturally a little bit a lot loud human kind of thing mixed with that wrathful deer as he descends, and just there's that, and then there's the loud thud as he lands upon this thing.
Yeah, you spin.
Yeah, 4 harm, ignore ignore armor as I like come down and plummet onto it.
You spin down and you crack down across this thing's skull. You see it's holding a brick, as you've seen them in the past doing, and it spins and catches you in the jaw as well. You take 2 harm. It does not ignore armor.
Yeah. All right. And that marks me as unstable then.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Charles lets out this roar, instantly killing this undead, but getting caught across the jaw. Everybody on the roof now, Thomas and Connor, Will, they all see Charles stumble backwards, blood dripping from his mouth, clearly unwell.
He got dragged all the way down to the ground?
He was about to get pulled down, and instead he leapt off and cracked it. He was going to have to take a pretty good amount of damage to move on. So he's on the ground.
He is on the ground. All right.
Yes. We're in combat now, gang. This is all up to you. This is going on.
I want to help Charles. I forget that. So for those of you who don't know,
No
Monster of the Week,
initiative.
big adjustment. Monster of the Week has no initiative. When you have an idea, you just have to say it. The game is a conversation, is what the book says 55 times. So as part of this conversation, Thomas sees Charles get hit in the face with a brick and sees a couple of deer teeth go flying. How tall is this lattice work? Are we up like? Is this like a little gabled roof and we're up like 5 feet, or is this up to the first floor and it's up like 10?
Yeah, this is up past the first floor. So you are up on the second floor here. It's like 18 feet up.
So I'll reach up and grab the very top of the lattice work and reach all the way down. It's important for me to remember Thomas is much fitter than I am. And he will reach down to grab Charles' hand and try to pull him up. It's up to you, Stefan. Do you want a help out, or do you want, like, because I could go either way, right? Do you want me to help you climb, or do you want me to try to pull you up?
Maybe like a help, because I could like use the like the the weird beyond normal human limits magic to like leap up the whole way.
Absolutely. Then so he'll reach down and grab you and just say, come on, man, we got to get up, and we'll help leverage some of your weight and help you climb as your own action comes around.
All right, Thomas, if you can roll that help out.
No, I'm not even good at help out. Do I have anything
No
here?
limit is the alternative rule I'll be using.
Yeah, I got nothing here. I got nothing. All right, I'm going to roll. My odds are not good. My cool is terrible. You know, when you roll a 9, it doesn't really matter. 9 minus 1 cool, 8. He will
We'll take an 8.
Having this moment, this like pounding in his ears and realizing that whatever he saw is now him, that he, for this whole time, will focus on doing the good thing, and will reach down, putting himself in a little bit of danger to grab Charles and help him climb up. So you have with a mixed success on help out, you get a +1, but I am exposed to danger.
Oh, also, it is -0 because you have a +1 forward from Charles. We can't forget that. It doesn't make a difference for this roll, but it might make a difference in the future.
Yeah, it's right up at the top. It's at 9. There's no way to give yourself that +1, unfortunately.
Yeah, and I rolled an 8 over here, base.
An 8.
8 with no bonus?
And then or 8 total, I mean, and then not concluding the help out.
9.
Not including the help out.
Yeah.
What would the help out give you?
+1.
I'm looking right now. Okay, gotcha. So in that case, Thomas, you reach down and you grab Charles's hand as he jumps up and you pull him that last little bit up. Charles, you do make it up to the top. You land heaving on this bit of egress spot. But Thomas, you weren't expecting the absolute force involved in Charles's leap. So you feel your arm pull. It doesn't pull out of socket, but it hyperextends like crazy. You pull your arm back up and you do take 1 harm, ignore armor. That just basically ripped your arm up pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna feel that when it gets cold, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, and for on the 7th and 9 for no limits, it says like I do it, but choose one consequence, and so I think suffer the one harm, but because I've got like the deer armor, it'll reduce it to 0 as I kind of like crash into the ceiling of this place and kind of like leave some
You do
crumbling dust.
way too much with this leap. You straight up do pull Thomas's arm pretty crazy, and that gets you all the way up, and bang, back down.
See, everything's good now with them up. I'm just gonna yell out. All right, Thomas. I believe you right now. Burn that lattice. Don't let him up.
Burn what?
The what you just used to get
The
up.
lattice.
I'm
The
not a
lattice.
show pony. All right. Thomas will turn around, and he is not comfortable with this, but knows it is the thing to do, and will kind of reach a hand down. Are you giving me the help? How's your plus cool? Is this a help out, or is this for fun?
I could use it as a help out.
No, what's the bonus you have to help to plus cool?
Oh, and I have +3 cool.
Yeah.
This is a roll to help out.
Well, I wasn't sure if yelling out to tell you.
Michael's playing the tactician in Pathfinder over there. What are we doing?
Yeah, no, it is. This is a help out. You're basically saying, like, get it together, man. Burn the lattice.
Yeah.
You're getting him back into the moment.
And
here.
I had that +1 going forward.
Yeah, +1.
All right, so it's 4 plus 3, so 7 plus the 3 is a 10.
7 plus 3, 10. Yes, +1,
Yes,
11.
+1, so 11.
So I get a +1.
Nice. Woo!
Which puts me at a cool +5 to this roll.
Oh my god.
That's how we do.
I have a question.
Yes.
Whilst I'm chilling, I assume I'm listening, I'm hearing everything that's kind of going on. You know, I don't know exactly what's happening, but I think I know that they're here now, you know,
Yeah.
and that, you know, everybody's mostly safe now, getting
Mhm.
up and in. While I'm kind of just waiting, you know, for the inevitable, can I try to tune in?
You tell me what that means, and the answer is probably yes.
It's where you attune your mind to a monster or minion. So I would like to see which one.
There you go.
I would like to ask which one.
You're trying to lock into the core
That
of
way
Cain.
I can blow this bomb up because like 9 times out of 10, you know, it's not all of them. You
Mhm.
know, so it's like which one is like the one?
Yeah.
And one of the questions I can ask is where is the creature right now? So I would
Yeah.
love to know.
So first, Thomas, resolve your burn.
I rolled quite terribly, so I'm grateful for all of these bonuses. It turns it into a mixed success, so I have to choose a glitch. The glitch I'm going to choose is incredibly obvious, which is that I do light the lattice work on fire, but believe it or not, psychically lighting lattice work into a giant column of flame draws immediate unwelcome attention. Go figure.
Yeah.
Something sees me do that and goes, I'm gonna kill him first.
Yeah, that's for sure. You light this lattice work up. Your nose like starts to bleed a little bit. This is just so much.
This
all
is
at
just
once.
a flavor thing. He comes to the horrible dawning realization that, and this is true, he cannot fail in his current situation. If I rolled snake eyes, I would still succeed. And Thomas
That's
hates how
crazy.
easily this comes to him as he goes to do the same thing. And like before he focuses all the way, it lights up.
It is almost like it's taking on a life of its own here. The flames start licking up to this balcony you're standing on as the lattice work instantly immolates. The unwanted attention comes in the form of several bricks and rocks flying directly towards you, Thomas.
I deserve this.
Connor and Charles and Will, you are essentially in the shootout zone here, so you also might take a little bit of damage, but mostly Thomas, you've got some damage coming in. That is
Now I will say one of the options is that I can just take harm, and I took unwelcome attention so that I would not take more
Oh,
harm.
I see. I see. In that case, no harm comes to you. You see a volley of brick archers leveling aim at you.
Damn.
And Connor and Charles and Will, you see the same. We cut to Jim. Jim, where are you standing in this house?
So Jim's right at the door. He's
You're
waiting. The door is actually slightly ajar,
mm-hmm.
trying as a way to bring him in. And
You're
he's hiding behind a couch with something at the ready. And then he's hearing all the stuff upstairs. He can somewhat see flashes of things lighting and just smirking. He's like, y'all make me proud. Now it's time to light things up down here from the ground up. Bring it on.
Yeah, you are ready. You are sitting at this stair as the lattice work lights. You see the orange flame through the crack of the door. Suddenly, the door is kicked wide open, and one of these people runs in, a wild look in their eyes, a slash wound across their neck, clearly dead. And it looks around. It does not immediately see you as you're hidden by the couch. And Jessica has entered into a sort of mindscape here, her shotgun slack at her sides as she's trying to connect. You are the last bastion here. What are you doing as it kicks in this door?
Well, I probably didn't also realize the little jar of paint that fell on it.
Yeah.
Ethanol paint.
Thump, a bunch of ethanol paint covers this thing in red. And it looks around, shocked,
Do you
surprised.
want me to try to act cool? Jim lights a match, tosses it from behind the couch like it's a grenade.
Yeah, this is act under pressure.
Act
That's
under
for
pressure.
sure.
That's actually a -1 for me, so.
You have a +1 forward, so it goes to 0.
+1, 0.
Huge.
Well, that's fine. Okay, good. That's a 10.
A 10,
Oh, it's gonna be a
nice.
9.
An incredibly
Uh,
clutch +1 forward.
Hmm.
With a 10, you like get up over the back of the couch, light a match on a matchbox, and throw it in slow motion. It arcs across the way. This thing wipes the paint out of its eyes, and as it blinks up, it sees the flame, catches it on the chest, and immolates. I'm gonna say, do you have a trap thing? Yeah, there it is.
Just a total. I had one right next to me.
Do you have a roll for damage on this, or am I essentially describing the damage
I
made?
guess describe the damage. I don't know if I want to apply like ambush to
There's
this. I
a
don't have
there's a
like, any-
chart somewhere.
Yeah,
It might be on the
something.
keeper
There's gotta
cheat
be a
sheet.
chart
I just don't know
somewhere.
where it is.
I'm gonna say that does 3 points of damage as it just burns away. The ethanol paint burns quickly, so it catches and it starts batting itself out, and you see its flesh bubbled up. Eyes have essentially popped from the heat, but it is still standing. It's still, in a way, alive, and it
Can
saw
it be
you
that
through
rich
the match.
jerk doctor with the car?
Yeah, I think his head was blown up, so probably not him. Could be like another doctor though. Who
The
knows?
body's headless.
Jim, seeing at least significant damage, was hoping for an insta kill. Smiles. Well, howdy there. And immediately runs toward the kitchen, pistol in hand,
Yeah.
getting ready. He is trying to lure this thing in.
The next spot you're gonna run to is the living room. You've
The li-
got
yeah, it's the living
the
room.
entryway, living room, kitchen,
Yep.
and then the
So he's
garage.
running deep into the living room, in between the garage and kitchen. I'm gonna say, Jim. He knows where. He's known what he's done for a while, so he takes a little leap of faith, and just
Yeah.
wants to lure this thing in more.
The creature runs in after you, slamming into the walls as it goes through this hallway. And then Jessica, your mind connects. What did you roll on your, I believe, plus weird, probably?
I did not yet. Hold on.
I looked it up. I thought Fast Zombies came around in with 28 Days Later in 2002. Turns out, first one was Night of the Living Dead in 1980. Had some runners in it, so I guess
Wow.
Yeah.
we would not be unfamiliar with the concept.
This is just like the. You know who would make that reference? Jessica.
True.
She does all the pop
Mhm.
culture stuff.
I rolled a 9 plus 3 plus 1.
What? Is
That's definitely gonna do it. Do you have advanced moves on use magic or anything,
I
or is this a
don't.
specific move?
This is just the specific move. It's
Okay,
called
cool.
Susan. Yeah.
All right. You've already told me what you're trying to do here, so it's gonna go off without any issues. Is there a bonus effect for getting, 10 plus, or is it just it happens with no issue?
Wait a second.
The magic ones always take a little bit more reading than anything else because there's a lot to describe. It's all good.
It's always like that last line, especially on the weird ones, especially because that's a move. So just if you just read the move out loud, often it'll just
Yeah,
say this is a use magic effect that you now have or something like that.
Yeah, it says and gain plus 1 ongoing while acting on the answers, and then it gives all the questions.
Okay, cool. So you open your mind to the psychic environment yet again, and you feel the shades of life in these undead creatures. You sense, again, well over a dozen in the immediate vicinity, the next couple hundred yards from the house, and you widen it more and more and more,
Wait,
and you're
sorry,
still
I
just finding
misunderstood. I'm
shades.
so sorry. I think I get to ask 3 of the questions just
Mhm.
as it goes, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I asked the first one now. Okay, just making sure. I know
And the
what I'm saying.
first one is,
Because I
where is
get
it?
3 because it's on a 10 plus hold 3, so I get
Yeah.
3.
Three
Okay,
questions.
got it.
So the first question you're asking is, where is this? Where is Cain himself? And you're going out and out and out. And at this point, you expected to have found him, but you don't. It's still just these shades. In a weird way, the energy, the signature you're getting, is similar to how you saw Emily and how you saw how Thomas saw you as the witch was in possession of you. It opens out wider and wider and wider and wider, and it goes out hundreds of yards, 1,000 yards, and suddenly, out by the outskirts of Shady Grove, you feel a dark and massive presence, and you know that you found Cain. You're not sure exactly where. You know that he is in the outskirts of the town. You know the general direction, but you don't know what building he's in, if he's in a building, if he's outside. You're not sure, but you know he's not right here. He's sending these minions in after you to weaken you. So that way he can come and not risk whatever threat you might have against him.
Great.
I'm gonna use my channel divinity to turn undead.
There you go. Yeah, and they all run away. They turn to dust.
I am going to rush out onto the balcony and say, "He's not here. He's not here. We have to go. We have to get out of here." But I also found this bomb.
All right, leaving sounds like a good idea.
Huge.
Yeah, you run up and you start calling that out. You left your post by the front door. Connor, you have been taking shots at these undead this entire time, blinking them off one by one as you can see them. Will doing the same. You've seen him level several of them at this point, but there are simply too many.
Okay.
And they rush through. Jim, you run through this hallway and you turn and you watch as this 1 HP remaining monster runs forward. What is the trap you have set up in this room?
All right, does he have to avoid it, or like a deck saving throw, or what?
He's
He's gonna
not
run
doing
into it?
shit.
Oh, sweet!
It's
This is
always
my
you
fault.
rolling, so yeah.
Yeah, I don't
was
roll
me.
anything. Yeah, so you're gonna roll plus cool to see how well you've set this trap. Don't forget your +1 forward.
Ooh, 8.
An 8, so that is a mixed success. Whatever trap you have set up here will go off. You underestimated the proximity. You're going to get caught in it a bit.
Okay. So you talk about it's very Home Alone like, but a lot more rated R. So this creature runs in and hits a rake. And on the back of the rake as it flips up is a knife.
Oh my god.
How do you get
Wait.
hurt? Wait a minute. No, wait.
He gets
So
catapulted after it hits him.
It maybe grazes me a little bit. I'm still. Jim does not hold his cool very well. He's been doing the best so far. That match got him a little riled up and a little frigged. He flinched as it went in, grazed him.
You escaped harm barely in the last room, and as you do it here, you run, and this thing is just faster than you expected. After being lit on fire, you'd expect it to be a bit slower. These things don't really feel pain. It just runs after you. So it's closer than you'd expect. As it steps down, this rake launches up, and you have to spin out of the way, and it catches you across the face, and bang, right into the eye socket of this creature, and it falls down flat, dead.
Just like Looney Tunes.
And then you hear several more sets of footsteps run in through that busted front door. Connor and Will could only do so much from atop. Charles held his post for as long as he could, but he's not stable at this point. So they are running in. Connor, what's up?
2 questions. Did Nicole say she found a bomb?
Yeah, she found a bomb. A
Awesome.
big clay
Cool,
pot
cool.
bomb.
Awesome. And then what way was the escape route that Will was saying we had? Towards the back of the house, towards front?
The escape route was the lattice work that he was discussing.
Okay.
So that's it. There's sort of the main stairwell, and there was that lattice work. Or you can jump. It's about a 20-foot drop. It's pretty intense, but you're gonna survive it.
Mm-hmm.
And those are your options.
All right. I'm just gonna yell. Is there a cellar exit?
No, we couldn't build it. The foundation wouldn't work. There's no basements. We can't go through a cellar.
Just
Maybe
want to make sure.
Sorry, my head's a little achy from the thing, but maybe we could get the van here to the lattice work and have people jump down on top of it.
Hey, is Will's dad's car in the garage? Will, is your dad's car in the garage?
Oh yeah. Well, we have 2 cars. One of them's in there.
Of course you do. What car's left? Do we know? What's it like? What's it? Tell me it's not like a... Is it something normal? Is it something fast? Is it something sturdy? Tell me it's a Cadillac, because then we can just drive out.
It's a Range Rover.
Damn, all right. And he will turn and run. He'll dive through... I'm at the top of the lattice work, which means I'm not on the balcony. I'm on the level below the balcony?
No, so there was... the lattice work went up halfway, and that's where you crawled up with a bit of a ledge, and that's where you got Charles up to. Charles went all the way back up to the top with the leap. So you're on this sub-level of that lattice work. So you're about 10 feet up.
Is there a window within distance? Can I get to a window?
Roll plus cool. Act under pressure.
Now, would you say that I'm acting under pressure due to a monster phenomena or mystical effect?
Yeah, I would. I would say that's why you're acting under pressure.
12.
12, yeah, that's huge. You see that there is a window to the left and to the right of this lattice work, and if you swing around, you can kick in through there.
Thomas this is gonna suck, and is going to dive through the window into the house.
Yep, you grab onto the side and swing in, and you shatter through. No roll necessary on this one. You've already acted under pressure to locate this, and you fall down. Inside the house, you probably weren't aware, because how could you be? But there were a few of these creatures that have entered in. So you land down, and you are basically in that front entryway. You look to your right, and you do see 3 of these ghouls running towards the area where Jim currently is housed.
Damn. We don't metagame in this house. Thomas is going to... Can I see Jim?
Yes. He would be around a bend, but you could just barely see him as he stumbles away.
But he's around a corner?
Yeah, you can see him a little bit through the corner, but yes.
Thomas will yell, Jim, duck! And I'm going to use magic.
Oh, for sure.
3 harm area. So it's up to you what that dispersal looks like here. It depends on, I guess, both my level of success and what you are imagining in the dream space here.
Jim is crawling in toward the kitchen, going under his little rope trap that he was hoping to trip somebody hit the counter.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. That is an 8. Which means I need to take a glitch. I do not want the effect to be weakened. Short duration makes no sense. I'll tell you what, I'll take immediate unwelcome attention again, and I will just, whatever of them survive are now going to be looking at me and not at Jim. Assuming that they are like drones and that they can't hear, Thomas will like let this out, and I'm not entirely sure what it looks like. It's somewhat up to you, but it is that same like powerful force that he can just let out that like psychic blast, and he'll yell, "Jim, find the keys to the Range Rover!" As he turns and runs. He's going to blast and then turn and head towards whatever door is behind him into a bedroom or office or wherever he is in the house.
Gotcha. What do you get for damage on that?
It's 3 harm area. So it's 3 harm to... if one of them is extra far, it might take less harm or none. But it's similar to the sort of shotgun scenario.
Yeah, you whip your hand forwards, and the air ripples. The pictures that are framed on the walls shatter, and shrapnel flies out as this energy blasts into the first 2 of these ghouls, and they whip backwards. The one at the very end takes that hit and stumbles backwards over the tripwire that Jim just walked beyond. Jim, what does that tripwire do?
Oh, so the tripwire. Oh no, it's just like a rope. So all it simply did was just trip it over, and then
He gave you the option, and you went with it's a trip rope.
Nope. So it tripped, and then fell toward the counter.
Yep.
More kitchen knives are also duct taped to the end
You
of the
just
counter.
taped a bunch of blades up. Yeah.
I wasn't done.
Oh, okay, yeah, keep going.
No. I was like, I wasn't done. I was gonna do like the whole SpongeBob thing, like just with the gasoline and like match the first part and then do it again. But like, nah, this is
It's just all gasoline and fire. Yeah, no.
So he had that set up. That's why he was like, "Don't do it. Don't no one come down there."
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, the trip, it gets blasted backwards. It trips over that rope and falls back into the blades to the base of the skull, and it dies. The other 2 fall down, wood and glass embedded in their flesh. They stand up shakily. They are knocking on death's door, Thomas, but they're alive.
Yeah.
And they start running towards you as you whip open a door into a spare bedroom here. You see that it's lightly decorated. This isn't where anybody stayed. But you enter in, and we jump to Jessica, Connor, Will, and Charles. What are you all doing up here?
So I know that he went for the car.
Yeah, you heard Thomas yell out, "Find the keys," to Jim.
All right. How big is Range Rover, would you say?
It can seat 6 pretty comfortably.
Oh, so not enough.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, 6. 6 is the right
6.
number.
All right. I feel like I can't do much from here. Ooh. I told Jessica, all right, dude. True. I'm gonna distraction. I tell Jessica, all right, give me a bomb.
Well, I mean, you could have it, but the thing is, what I was thinking is that what if we ran, and then we threw the bomb behind us as we left?
Mm-hmm.
Thoughts? Because, I could, hold on.
Hear me
I
out.
could make a distraction with my mind.
You set up the bomb, and that little toy soldier with a match in its hand.
There it is. It's all coming
It's
together.
all part of the plan.
I love it.
All right.
Will, please, do you have any matches?
I've got he pulls out one of those like really nice stainless steel lighters, and he's like, I've got this.
Yeah, that looks nice. That'll work.
All right, here you go. Not a good time to smoke, by the way. I wouldn't recommend it, currently, but Connor, what do you
It's 1991. We all take out cigarettes and light them.
Connor,
sure
what you say, I've got a plan to distract them with the bomb. Jessica says we better hold off. What are you going to
Yeah.
do instead?
I still want to. I still want to help out with the garage stuff, and I think to do that, I have to get downstairs, and I still think I need to make some sort of distraction. So I want to get to my van.
Yeah, I mean, there's a very obvious answer,
Mm-hmm.
which is you jump off of this balcony and you land on the ground and run for the van.
Yep.
But you're going to take some damage to do it.
Yep, that's fine. I can jump. I can take some damage right now. But yeah, I kind of want to run distraction a little bit, but it's not quite run distraction. I want to kind of barricade, use my van as barricade to make sure that they aren't getting into the garage.
Wait, I just saw something. I can use my magic to bar a place from a specific type of creature, so I could try to do that with my brain, and then if it doesn't work, you could pull some crazy Fast and the Furious stuff if you want.
So, from your perspective of the house, there are two main entrances to the garage. There's this front door where you see these creatures essentially piling in. You can block that. There's also a garage entrance over to the side. So both of you can use your abilities and or van to block one of these entrances so they can't enter. That's totally reasonable. It's just up to you to decide which ones you're hitting and in what order.
Well, if we want to be able to get the car inside the garage out, maybe I
would say, because it's just barring creatures from getting in, bar the garage entrance, because that's where we're going to exit from. And I can barricade the door. Meaning I'm going to run over a bunch of these things.
Yeah. You're going to slam to the front of this house a little bit, and you're going to hit a bunch of them. So Connor, you take a few deep breaths, count down from 3, and jump off of this balcony. Honestly, roll act under pressure.
Why am I getting...
I take that back. Roll plus tough. You're jumping off of this balcony. You're trying not to hurt yourself real bad.
That's fair.
I'm getting that scene in Band of Brothers where the guy runs past the German artillery and then runs back. And they're like, it would have been crazy for him to run, but then he ran back.
Even worse. Even wilder.
So plus tough. Okay. I was wondering about, is armor going to do anything with this?
Absolutely not. You're keeping your knees from snapping to splinters.
Okay,
Armor doesn't help.
Do you in this moment decide that one of your points of armor is a good set of knee sleeves? It's just like it's a good set of braces.
just like grabs Will by the hand, and she's like, "All right, let's like take the stairs." Like
We're gonna walk down this way.
That was double 6s plus 2.
Woo!
Plus, and then another +1 for that. Plus for Charles's.
That's crazy. Yeah, you in your FBI training, they didn't do parkour, in the early 90s, but they had a good idea of mitigating the damage from big leaps. You breathe in a few times, exhale all the way so your diaphragm doesn't get stopped up as you land. You go knees bent into a full roll and you stand up. Everybody up top sees this happen, must be gobsmacked. Crazy. Thomas, you look through a window and you see it happen, and he rolls up. Connor, you take 2 points of harm.
8.5.
Didn't stick a landing.
And you have straight shot to the van. It's like 10 feet in front of you on this road. So you run forward and you stick the keys in, start it up, and hit it into drive. Who's going now? Jim, you just watched that one get killed. Thomas, you're getting chased down by two of these creatures. So that's what's going to happen next. Thomas, these things run directly at you.
Thomas whips around, pulls the Bowie knife out that Jim gave him, and throws it. I have taken unholy strength, roll plus weird instead of tough when you kick some ass. So he
That works.
throws it in that he kind of moves his arm in the way that you were supposed to, and the knife flies in a direct straight line towards one of them.
Perfect.
Jim, I guess I said you got the car started, right?
You run towards this garage and you see a key rack. You grab the keys and you swing the door open.
Mm-hmm. And then so grab the key, swing the door open, and then he just screams out, I got him! I got him! I'll be in the garage. He goes right into the vehicle, gets trying to get that thing started.
Yeah, it starts up on the first try. This thing's primo.
Nice.
Quickly takes sure there's nothing behind him that's at least alive.
You look back, half expecting like a hand to reach up, but there's nothing in the car.
And then just he guns it in the back. He's driven a few of these before.
Don't gun it yet. We're in the car.
Then he hits the brake.
You go.
Jim almost leaves.
I'm just. And he
That's
goes off
actually
to the
enough.
sunset.
Jim retires his character to safety. He gets out of here.
Yep. I'm just testing it. I'm just testing it. You know, he's not handling his school very well.
He's losing it. Thomas.
I got a 10 on my kick some ass roll using plus weird, and I know exactly which one I'm going to take of the 10 plus effects. Thomas is running, and he just stops and looks at these two zombies and goes, why the hell am I running? Like, in all the confusion, like, he went to his normal thing and then realizes that, like, in his head, he's like, he wouldn't say it this way, but he's like, I just found out I am a monster. Why am I running? And I give myself +1 forward until the situation clears. And Thomas just turns and like psychics a knife into one of their chests for one arm, pulls it back, and then sprints towards the next one and is going to try to just smash past it to the garage. He just has the moment where he's like, why am I running? And goes.
The heart of the first ghoul stops and the blade pulls back out. Black blood spills forth, and you sprint towards the other one. The other one does not stop for a second. It is rushing directly at you.
Good.
And it is going to swing out. This is going to be... it does 2 harm as a fist connects with your diaphragm. Bang! Straight through.
Reduced to 1.
1 harm. Crack! You hear a rib crack as it catches that. Jessica and Will are running down the stairs. Charles, you're up there as well. What are you doing?
I guess hearing the commotion about getting the car and getting out of here, he sees the car as like kind of like that like pure escape route to like get out of this comforting thing, and just like beelines it like aerodynamic, like on all fours, just like getting down to the car.
You rush past Jessica and Will. Absolutely double their speed.
Yeah, just leaping through the window into the car, and like with the wounds that I'm favoring though, like I'll try to use my this might sting magic on myself once I get into the car and feel like the enshrouded like shelter of this thing to try to kind of like bring my constitution back.
Nice. Yeah, what do you have to roll for that? Is that plus weird?
Yeah, it's a weird use magic modifier kind of thing. That's a 5. 11.
11. That works with no glitch.
Mm-hmm. Great. So that'll heal up at least 3 of the wounds I've had.
Yeah, you feel like that prickling sensation rush over your body, and then it starts sealing up some of these wounds. You feel a fracture in your jaw seal up instantly. And you can finally relax that like almost locked in jaw.
Yeah. Oh, the process is exceptionally painful. So like I'm there like moaning in agony as it's like as I feel the bones grinding and stuff and
Yeah,
things
you Jessica
together.
and Will see you sprint by going as you're running down this glow of magic, the wound sealing shut. It's awful.
Mhm.
Jessica, is there anything you're doing as you are running down these steps?
Yeah. Well, once I get down the steps, yes.
Okay. You make it down those steps. Just as Connor, you hit this car, this van into drive, and you're driving straight up to the front door to fully block it. Um, how much? What are you slamming through? Are you
I'm
just
s-
resting it?
I need to get to the point. I'm slamming through. I just need the driver's side door where you get through.
Oh yeah. Yeah. There's like 4 of these ghouls running for the front door. 2 of them running towards you as you whip it into drive and pull forward, and you doof, 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 hit over them straight into that front door. Your car, your van, keels slightly over from the steps, leaving the driver's side door open. 5 ghouls dead. One of them stands up, running towards you. No rolls necessary on that. You're just driving this bad boy. This is how it's meant to be. And you jump out as this thing rushes towards you next. Jessica, you get down to the bottom of the stairs as the van busts through the front door. What are you doing?
Um, what the? I'm gonna. This is so ridiculous.
It's such a, I do want to say, what a classic end, what a classic season finale thing to do, to sacrifice the 82 Econo line,
Huge.
driving it through
Huge.
the front door. Huge.
I just, in my mind, like, it's funny because, like, during this situation, I can picture all of our characters, like, oh my God. And, like, things are, like, whizzing past, like, things are happening. But, like, in reality, these things are, like, walking, like, pretty slowly. People are driving cars through the house just as, like, we'll just take the stairs. Like,
No big
Connor's
deal.
jumping off the balcony. She's like, what is everyone doing?
They're running, right? Aren't they running?
The creatures are running.
Oh, okay. I pictured in my head like they're like walking.
No,
Like,
no.
like people
the
are going
sprinters.
crazy. Like
No,
what
they're
is happening?
running. There, you didn't have a great vantage point from in your section there. What Connor saw was like 30 houses light up in flames, and then like 24 of these ghouls running forward. And you're like, these things walk slowly, one at a time.
Yeah, thank you, Usain Bolt. Just sprinting.
Well, I think all right. I'll get caught up. I think finally in everything that's happening, and just before I kind of like get into the car, I will set up on the kitchen table the really ridiculous contraption of the bomb.
Next to the incredibly bloodied knives that are taped.
Yeah,
I do need to say
yeah,
that.
but now I can see them at least, so
Mhm.
that's something. And I will set that up pretty far away, enough to like get us out of there, and that's like
Yeah.
about it. Yeah,
Uh,
so I'll set that up.
you set that up. So are you lighting the fuse right now?
No. I am taping the lighter open onto the wind-up toy
Oh, okay.
to make it walk to the fuse, because the fuse is not gonna. That's not enough time.
Yeah, no.
So
You take the lighter and you take the duct tape off of the knives on this table and you wrap it around the toy soldier. You wind it up, wind it up, wind it up.
I was
Set it
gonna
at the
say
very
I
end.
I can take out my cheer bow and tie it up.
Oh yeah, that works too. Either way, and your hair falls down around your shoulders. You tie it up, twist it, and set it running. You see Thomas run past, turning as this creature hits him once. Thomas, are you still on the run here to the next room as you take that damage?
Well, I see that there's a great number of people, right? So if I leave this thing, it's going to come behind me. And so Thomas really is embracing what he can do to help here. And so, rather than running past it, as this thing like clocks Thomas in the face, Thomas reaches out and grabs it by the face. And I'm going to roll use magic.
Oh yeah.
That is a 10.
A 10, you do it, and
A
you
10,
do
you
it
do
with
it
no
and it
glitch.
works. It takes 3 harm, ignore. Thomas grabs it by the face and it lights on fire under his hand. He lets go and looks at his hand that isn't burnt and goes, fuck, and goes down the stairs.
This time when you grab it and light it, it's not clothing. It is the flesh of the monster. You are unlocking through terrible violence more and more of this magic as its brain boils in its head and collapses. Inside the garage, the vehicle started. You, Jim, see as the garage door swings open, and 4 of these ghouls look up at you and rush towards the vehicle you're in. Jim, what are you doing?
What's up? Jim immediately just hits back, goes straight into them in a nice big line, and then tries to just hit the brake quickly. What he's going to try to do is quickly go back and drive back into the garage, try to reverse.
Hey, roll to
Try
kick.
keep us.
Roll to kick some ass, brother. That's roll plus tough.
Can I burn some luck?
Oh, for sure.
Because
Honestly, you guys have got plenty of luck.
Because that was a 3.
Yeah. Burn it.
All right, so burn luck.
You
hit
burn
reverse.
1 luck, so you get full success on this kick some ass. So you can let's see here. You gain an extra effect. You can take +1 forward or give it to another hunter. You inflict terrible harm, you suffer less harm, or you force them where you want them. What are you going with?
So going with let's see. Give it to another hunter.
All right, who are you giving the advantage to?
So I'm gonna throw it to Connor.
Connor, nice. Connor, you see as you step out of this vehicle, the garage door whip open, and suddenly the Range Rover bolts forward, knocks 4 of these ghouls backwards. They collapse onto the ground. 1 of them dead, the other 3 still standing. They get up, and you are emboldened by seeing your ally do this, sort of mirroring your own maneuver. Jim, you pull back and you see 3 of them still stand back up. Who now? So Thomas and Jessica are in the living room and kitchen running towards the garage. Charles, where are you right now?
He's inside the Jeep now. He like healed himself as he leapt into
Oh,
it.
that's where
So-
you went in, was straight into the
Yeah.
Jeep. Gotcha. So, Charles, you are still screaming in pain as you're healing yourself as Jim rushes forward and bam slams into those creatures. You look up and you see what's happening. With
Jim is
that,
laughing, but also screaming literally by watching Charles.
oh yeah, Connor,
Like, all just like
so much confusion, so much.
Jim's hearing helicopter blades. Like we're off to the races.
Jim, to make matters worse, as these things stand back up with your kick some ass, they are grabbing their weaponry and start whipping it towards the windshield to damage you as well. And you take 2 harm as one of these large stones shatters the front windshield, and that glass catches you.
Okay, that makes me unstable.
All right, we've got 2 characters. Well, 1 character unstable now. Charles has stabilized himself, so that is good news.
I'm unstable.
Thomas, Jessica, you rush towards the garage. No roll necessary. You make it through, and I assume you jump in, unless there's anything else you want to do first.
No, I'm good. I would rather leave it to a car to run over these fools than do it myself.
That is fair. Connor, that leaves you outside. There is this 1 ghoul running towards you. Your allies have all jumped into the vehicle in the garage. You hear the doors slam shut. What are you doing?
Say I'm outside.
Yeah, so you slammed in, but you're still out. I guess the way I narrated it was you slammed through with your door still outside by the staircase towards the front entryway, but you were still outside instead of inside of the house. You didn't go quite deep enough.
Oh, okay. I was trying to get front half in, but that's okay.
I see.
Can I if I can give a layup as the car rips out of the garage, I will take the keys to the Ford Ranger out of my pocket and throw them to Connor.
All right, so I'm going to your car. Cool.
If
Always
it
better to have a
sticks, you just
backup.
gotta jimmy it a little. Just throw it.
As you yell that out, you see Will lean out of one of the windows and just start shooting at these creatures. Pot shots being taken. And Connor, you catch the keys in the air and you run. The car is like right about 5 or 6 feet away from you, so it's right by this entryway. You rush for it, but there is still that ghoul in front of you. And if you try and go to the car, it's going to attack you.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think I can like attack and move. Right, I'd had to. I'm cool just taking the hit. I think
Yeah.
I have to.
You level your shoulder down and rush forward, trying to knock this thing off balance, maybe get past it. And as you do so, it lifts just one of the biggest rocks you've seen to date, one of those like topiary stones. It lifts that over its head and swings down at you. You catch it with your shoulder straight into the chest, and it rips down and hits you in the back of the ribs. That is going to be 3 damage. It does not ignore armor.
All right. So I have 1 armor.
All right, so you take 2 harm.
All right. That puts me at unstable.
Come on.
We have 2 characters unstable. The rock catches you in the ribs. It is knocked off balance and falls down. You run past, leap into Thomas Puck's vehicle, and start it. Almost, it catches you, Jimmy, and it starts up. And all of you hit in drive and pull away. The damage is more than any of you could have expected. Houses on your left and right are in flames. You see more of these creatures rushing out from these burning homes towards you all. The numbers are ever increasing. As you rip past, you get 10, 20, 30 feet away, 100 feet away, and Jessica looks back, knowing the trap she set in this building, and a massive explosion rips through Will's home. It catches the gas line of the house, and a secondary explosion rips. You feel the pulse of it in your chests. More houses explode. There are easily dozens of these ghouls caught in the explosions. Luckily for you, they've all been ransacked, burned up, and killed at this point. You haven't killed any innocents. Anybody who might have survived would have already been burned out. These explosions rip through. You feel the vehicles jolt as that impact hits them, and you keep ripping. Jessica guiding the group towards where you know this thing is. You still have a couple of questions left from your Intune action. Is there anything you're going to ask next?
My next question was gonna be how can I attract its attention, but then like I kind of know where it is, so I might save that until we don't know exactly like the specific point. But I would say, well, I could ask that now.
Yeah. How do you attract its attention? I'll tell you right now. You're worried that there's more you have to do, that this wasn't enough. But what you've effectively done here was destroyed its army. There's almost none of these creatures left. You're still in tune with that psychic environment, feeling those shades. There are several, but there aren't dozens. You feel its presence walk towards you. It is coming closer because there's no more pawns left to use on the battlefield. So you've attracted it.
What if we just drove right to the water and let it find us there?
I mean, it's got to go wherever Will is, and if Will's in the car with us, it needs to follow. That is the benefit that we have. We know it's going to go wherever we are. The only thing I will say is if we drive somewhere and make it follow us, it's on its terms. If we go right to it, you see what I mean? That's the only thing. Although I guess we could set another Jim could set another trap and whatnot. Also, connected gas lines were made illegal in the 70s. That's really unsafe. As I point back to the 3 houses that exploded, just bothered me. I
Old
don't know.
town, you know how it goes.
So do we want to set a trap somewhere? I mean, does Kane know
I've got
that the water of the Mississippi is something he needs to be afraid of?
I got some more rope. I got it all tied up on me as an extra belt. Jim's just wincing right now.
And I've got a
How does I don't know how healing harm works. Can I do let's look. Recovery, harm
You
wounds
do
improve
first
when you
aid.
receive first aid and later when you rest. Heal one when you do. Unstable wounds require first aid to become stable. But what is first aid?
First aid is essentially just patching somebody up. So you would roll plus cool for an act under pressure, and you would do first aid that way.
Okay. Connor's in the truck. Do any of us have a high plus cool to look at Jim?
2.
Great. Thomas will go, oh, damn, Jim. And will actually use his flashlight like a flashlight for once. And and we'll just sort of look over that way to give Charles a chance to heal Jim, however you want to do it, if you want to try to use magic or do whatever. Unfortunately, I am not helping out. It is most likely will cause harm if I try.
Since the magic I cause creates a lot of pain, I don't want to do that on the guy driving, so I'll just do the first aid to try and patch up his wounds. So
because that unstable means pretty much any time you fail, Spencer can be like, and take 1 harm.
And then die real quick.
And then
Yeah,
1 harm
enjoy.
more armor, please.
yeah, so that's a 9 I rolled.
9. So you're going to recover 1 HP on a mixed success. I'm going to say, as you do this, Jim, you're getting patched up. You're not going to be able to control this car for much longer. Somebody else has to take over while you're getting these wounds patched. That leaves Jessica, essentially, as your main option. Thomas is providing light, and Charles is doing first aid. So, Jessica, you have to jump up and start driving. I think we've established you don't have a lot of experience with driving vehicles. So, sort of a bad...
I ride my bike.
Yeah, bad time for a driver's lesson. But you jump into the driver's seat
Will's
as
helping.
the rest of this happens. And you... Will's actively shooting his gun outside the
Yeah, but
window.
he's like giving me tips.
Yeah, he's like, shift, downshift.
He's giving... I love that he's giving, like, cute, like, trying to be nice while also shooting, and from the back you just hear left, 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 as we are heading towards a mailbox.
Whoa. We cut over to Connor. Connor, roll the act under pressure. You're driving while unsteady here, so this is going to be a little iffy, and you don't have your allies there to patch you up.
Do I still have that +1 going forward from the war? I don't know how long that lasts.
It's technically until the end of the encounter.
Until the end of the combat that we're in, I guess.
Yeah, and I think that we're still actively in that combat for at least the next little bit
In the
here.
fight. Yeah.
So you're still in it.
All right. Okay. 9 + 3, 12, so 13.
13. Yeah, you're gritting your teeth. Basically, you are grinning through the pain, and you are white knuckling the steering wheel, driving side by side with the Range Rover that is currently being piloted, you see, by Jessica, which is maybe a little unsettling for the person driving side by side.
Yeah, I look into double look and then triple look to see that they're patching up Jim. Like, all right.
Oh, I see.
And-
Go ahead.
Oh, and if on the way to like getting the rope and stuff, there's a gazebo. It's got all these like various like glyphs and things and like elemental kind of like figurines. It seems like it might be like a good protection circle area if we want to like lure him there.
Just a slow everybody in the car turns to look at Charles in unison. Yeah, Charles. Yeah, that
I
sounds
haven't really
perfect.
cleaned it up too much though. Like it's still a little ramshackled, but
Oh, well,
those
I'll be
parts
sure
are
to
all
send an
fine.
apology to Kane, the first murderer, as we're sort of ripping down the road.
great.
Will comes in through the window after taking more pot shots, and he says, there was a question before about if we thought that Kane probably knew about, the running water thing. Probably, I'd say he probably knows, but what I don't think he does know is that there's that whole church running water. So I think that if we could lure him directly there, and that would solve the problem as well about him knowing about the running water.
You're very polite. Thank you for correcting us. He's right. We should go there instead of to the Mississippi because we know something that he doesn't.
And then he goes back out and he starts shooting again. Several stones are still being lobbed at the vehicle as you whip past. These ghouls are not particularly well equipped for car chases, but as they get the opportunity, they do throw the stones, trying to catch you through the windshield, trying to pop tires, all that good stuff. But you quickly make your way past where these ghouls are effective, and you whip down past the gates of Shady Grove. And Charles, you lose that -1 forward, so now you are at a +1 forward. Unfortunately, the combat ends as well as you leave here. So everybody drops down to their regular pluses. You are pulling through. You pass the area where Kane currently is stationed, and you do feel him approaching wherever you are heading as well, Jessica. So you whip past him, and he starts walking in that direction. You make quick progress back to the charred remains of the church. You know something that almost nobody else does, which is there is a small bevy where the Mississippi River rushes through here, where a witch was previously chained up for, I would say, untold centuries. Who knows exactly how long? You're not positive. And you make it there. You slam on the brakes, looking around this country club yet again, seeing these pillars that still stand, a doorway that is charred but still stands as well, the glass all having shattered since you previously left. The glass that was previously still intact, regardless of the flames that damaged this church. You all file out of your respective vehicles. Connor, I would say file is a strong word for what you do. You step out of the car, blood dripping, rattling breath coming from your chest as you walk towards the rest of the party.
Yeah.
I'll go running up to Connors and be like, "Oh, you look really rough for wear. If you want to sit down on this like nice grass here for a moment, just kind of like close your
lay
eyes.
down.
Yeah, and just enjoy the sun or the sky and the
Yeah, just
trees."
as
And,
Thomas sees Charles
uh,
talking, he runs by and go, "Yeah, for sure." Takes a length of rope out and goes, "Bite on this for no reason," and gives Connor and then run past.
Yeah,
and then runs
just
back.
take a good deep breath, and I like place my hands on you and like bring that like primal like healing energy into you as it suddenly fixes.
I love the energy of, yeah, it hurts. Why? Because it heals you all at once. Like, if you imagine that, what
It's
that would
awful.
feel like nerves
It's like
latching back on.
It's like stitches, but if the stitches were also on fire, is basically
Yeah.
what happens.
All right, and I rolled a 10 for that, so at least it works without issues.
Hey, nice.
So that'll heal 3 harm.
Oh, nice.
Very
Connor, you
painfully,
bite
though.
down on this rope as this magic washes over you, and you do stifle basically a guttural scream as that
Yeah.
3 damage is healed. You spit the rope out, and the magic stops washing over you.
That
Yeah.
ability is crazy,
Yeah.
Stefan. That is a wild ability.
Mhm.
Yeah. So, all right. I believe you. I believe you.
Yeah.
Why was it believing day?
That's huge.
Oh,
You all run into the charred remains of this church now. You are standing. Most of you are at least solidly non-bleeding out. So there's not going to be a lot of hard moves taken against you as you fail. You push open the door and enter in. There's the trap door in the back of the remains of this church. Are you going straight there? What are you all doing here?
Priority 1, bring Will down to the basement, and if we can, I'd like to get him to the other side so that he is out of harm's way, right? Because priority 1 is Will cannot die. That cannot come to pass. So Will probably on the other side of the river thing. And then, do we have any way? We really don't. We don't have like a functional way to protect him any more than that. What are other people thinking? Like, my first thought, I know, Jessica, you said that you can like bind him to a place. So first of all, I think definitely priority early is Jessica binding him to the body, right? If you can like seal him so that he can't body jump in case we accidentally kill him or whatever, that'd be great. And then number 2 is we just need to get him into the water, and then somebody has to go in with him and not be swept away and drown in an underground river, the worst thing I can imagine. So
I'll look around and say, hey, who's gonna fist fight him in the water?
that's I don't
Let's all do it, maybe.
Will's like, I would.
Yeah, well, for sure. Connor, I think there's only one fair way to do this. And then so I can roll plus weird for kick some ass, which gives me a +3, and you have a +3 as well, right?
For kicking ass, I have +2 because it's tough.
Okay, so actually Charles and Thomas match eyes, and he goes,
Mhm.
"Do you want to do rock paper scissors or?"
Sure.
All right, so we can't play rock paper scissors over Discord. Let's each roll a d6. Do you want Spencer? I'll let you decide. Does the highest number not have to do it, or have to do it?
The highest number does not have to do it.
All right, Stefan, ready?
No, wait, I take that back. The highest number chooses.
No, I don't want that.
Oh.
I don't want that. I'm gonna say, all right, if it's me, I'll take it if I get the highest number, and I'll encourage you to do the same. 5.
I rolled a 1.
Son of a
Ooh.
bitch. We go rock, and I do rock, and Charles does paper, and I go, shit. All right, I got it.
Just if you need help though, say the word. I'll jump in there.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
You guys are never going to believe this. The country club is actually incredibly close to Shady Grove. Weird that the well-off people would want their country club pretty close to home, but they did. So you've got maybe 10 minutes before Kane shows up here with whatever remnants of his army survived Jessica's explosion. So what are you doing in the 10 minutes? I know that Will essentially leaps over to the other side of this inlet of river. So he is as protected as possible. He lays down on the ground, rifle up at the staircase. He's ready. He's ready for the smoke at all times.
So Jim, if everyone's downstairs.
Everyone's downstairs now.
Jim is going to stay upstairs and see, depending on who shows up, he's going to put himself in an ambush. He's going to tie some extra rope on the stairs. Maybe he can knock somebody over, put him at a little disadvantage. But depending on what's showing up, he's going to put himself in an ambush with his pistols and see if he can potentially distract anyone that comes around, even if it means moving away from the church.
So you're set up by the big doors, those big oak doors. Your back is to them, pistol in hand, deep breathing, trying to center yourself before whatever happens. You are there as this first line of defense before these creatures can get to the basement. Everybody, you gather downstairs, and you realize that Jim has not gone downstairs with you. What is everybody else doing?
I think I'll probably be by the corner, like just as around the bend as the stairs come down. So any extra creatures, since Thomas is dealing with the cane, I'll be ready to support by taking out the extra ones and getting in the fray with them.
Got it. You're that next line, ready to throw down hand to hand.
I also think that what can happen is also if somebody lures him into the water, I instead can just trap him in the water so that nobody has to
Somebody has to stab him, right?
Yes, but so nobody has to also worry about him.
You'll only be able to have one of these effects going, so you can't bar the location and keep him locked into his form.
But I can also use magic.
Bar the location from
So you could lock him into the water, but you wouldn't be able to lock his soul from being able to leave. You have to. There's two things really.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Okay, can I don't know. It's not on the list of use magic, so I think we are in big magic territory. I don't know how reasonable that is given our situation. Thomas is just thinking of priorities here. Things are bad. If the world ends, that's the ball game. And he thinks he can pull this off. He thinks that Jessica's going to cast a spell, we're gonna tackle him into the water, and Thomas is gonna do what he's got to do. And if Thomas, and given what happened at the house, Thomas thinks that him dying in the course of this might be for the best overall. Can I put like a protection spell on Will? Can I give Will like 2 armor?
I think use big magic for sure. That's definitely big magic.
It's so the options, there's one that I would appreciate you not picking, which is you need to spend a lot of time researching the
Yeah,
ritual.
probably that one.
But or rare and weird ingredients, take a long time, needs a lot of people, needs to be cast in a particular place, need to use magic. It will have a specific side effect or danger. You need to experiment. So what I would like to, if I could make a pitch and you do not need to agree, I have Stranger Danger, which gives me my 1 armor despite not wearing any armor. I would like to give Will armor and not have armor anymore.
Yeah. That is the specific side effect, is lose armor. I think yes, that works great. So you sit down, and you are. I'm looking at big magic. It doesn't say that you have to roll weird for it. It's just if you meet the requirements, the magic takes effect. I don't think you have to roll.
It says when you want more than the use magic effects. So I think it's doing an additional effect. It's up to you. If what you're saying is giving up armor is such a wild move you don't have to roll, then I'll take it.
I think that giving up armor is so wild that there's no chance of you failing, but there is a chance of a mixed success. So roll for it to see if you get a mixed success or a success.
All right. I got a +3.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
We're pretty clean here. 9, just under complete success.
9. All right, you get an effect and a glitch. The effect is big magic. He gets armor and you lose armor. Now choose an effect. Or a glitch, sorry, my mistake.
They all suck.
Yeah.
I can't do weekend. I can't do short duration. Unwelcome attention. I don't think I will be a good player and not choose because it doesn't make any sense.
There's nothing here.
It has a problematic side effect. I mean, I've already lost the armor. There's not another problematic side effect to happen. Take maybe 1 harm, ignore armor. What's that?
Oh, maybe the weakened effect or something is like once it's been used to protect him, then it transfers back to you, maybe?
I mean,
like
it's just effect? It's only 1 armor as it is.
So,
I think that you're going to probably take 1 harm, ignore armor.
I think what happens is Thomas thinks this is going to be relatively effortless, and as he reaches out to Will's mind to try to protect him, I think he has to wrestle with whatever that thing inside Will is. And I think that Thomas gets the armor on Will, but loses the wrestling match. And so when he like snaps out of it, his like on the right side of his face, his nose is bleeding, his ear is bleeding, and a blood vessel in his eye pops. And he comes out of that, and like the whole right side of his face is red, and his eye is red, and he's bleeding out his nose. He's like, God damn, William! Burn some sage next time! Holy shit! As he's like wiping the blood off his face.
What Thomas can't see, but as he wipes the blood away, he turns to the rest of the group who are down here, and you all see what looks like a large hand imprint across his face, like he was grabbed, and the pressure of it just started bursting blood vessels.
All right, Will, you're a little safer than you were a minute ago. I figured I'd punch it up a little bit so you'd be all right, but damn!
I appreciate it. I appreciate it. What the fuck? He's too far away to really see what's going on.
No, like,
I appreciate that. All right, so that is
sure.
Ready, everybody?
Sure you want to go into the water now? I could take that off your load then if you're protecting Will.
I mean, it's your call, man. I'll do whatever's got to get done.
Great.
What's the harm look like right now on Thomas versus Charles?
3 harm, not unstable yet.
I've got 1 harm on me.
I think we need to honor the roll here. I think that Thomas is going to go into the water. But nevertheless, Connor, what are you doing? Where are you posting up?
So I have a question for Nicole. Are you barring him in this body, or are you barring him in the water?
That was kind of the
The body, right?
question.
It's got to be the body
Yes.
because Thomas's job now is basically bar him in the
Yeah.
water.
Okay.
Yeah.
These. I got my
Oh yeah, with
I
the
got
gun-
my
with
magic
the
guards
psychic
right here,
guns.
baby.
Mm.
My head
Um,
hurts. Thomas is just hit sideways.
Ah!
Yeah. So what I want is I want to be on the other side of the room. The instant he gets barred in his body, I'm aiming for his kneecap. I want to take a leg off.
The second he enters in, you're just gonna blow through his knee.
The instant he gets barred into his body.
Oh, okay,
So
gotcha.
he
So
doesn't
as you see that magic take effect, you're gonna shoot through.
try and make it easier for the water fight.
Where are you in this room? So there's the doorway and then a rectangular room with the river washing through the middle. In by the doorway is Charles. Down on the other end, on the left-hand side, is Will. There's nobody on the right-hand side. Jessica, I assume you're going to be by the door on the other side of Charles.
Yeah, I was thinking I'd be right next to Jessica, so that when she has lines of sight, I have line of sight.
In that case, it would probably be best for you to go to the opposite side of where Will is. So on the
Mhm.
right side instead of the left.
Hmm.
And I guess
Uh,
does the door open in?
The door opens into the room you're in.
So full kindergarten BS. Thomas goes, "All right, everybody, places, please," and stands behind the door, like so that when the door opens, Thomas is behind it.
Or is it a door on the roof?
There's a trap door on the roof, and then there's a set of stairs that then opens up into this room.
Yeah. And I guess I'll also sort of shapeshift into this more gruesome looking like deer.
Oh
form.
yeah, it at this point it is horrifying to look at. It's really not natural. This isn't a pure deer form. It is still more deer than man, but more man than you'd want to see. You shapeshift and you're on the other side of the door. So where it opens out, Thomas is blocked. You instead are not blocked, and you're standing there ready for combat. Yes.
Given the situation that is about to happen, I want to check on a house rule. We
Yes.
changed the way luck works so that there are any stakes at all. So
Yes.
I know we can use luck as normal to like automatically succeed on stuff. We changed something about spending luck for harm reduction. Did we strike it completely, or can you only do it once per session? I can't remember which of the two it is.
I'm going to say right now we struck it completely. Do I know that for sure? Certainly not. We can watch back the tapes and we can finger wag, but I'm going to say it's gone.
I think that's a sensible choice because I've already done it once. So, okay, that's just obviously important for me to know, given the situation we're
Yeah.
about to be in here.
From the top, the trapdoor opens. Jim, you look down to make sure everybody's set up where they need to be. This is the last moment for any of these characters to speak to each other, settle anything before this final combat goes down. Is there anything anybody wants to say to the others?
Will
Jim
kisses Jessica on the lips. What the heck?
Jessica could kiss Will on the
Will-
lips.
I think Will would kiss Jessica probably.
Will is in the corner after a mind wrestling match with a gun in his hand. I think
don't
that you
see.
can kiss him. You can go over there, you can do that, but he's not doing it. It feels like the wrong time to him, so he's not going to try.
Jim looks down at everybody. He looks at, especially over at Charles. Well, it seems like a little glare, actually. It's like, if this is the end, just want to let you know, thanks for not making me feel like I was truly crazy. I forgive you.
Thank you. It seems like we
jokes.
live in very crazy times.
He pulls out, he throws down the last few of his candy cigarettes, puts one in.
Here we go.
He goes in, he's ready. He's ready to join his brothers.
I'm
if need be.
not used to working with other people.
Oh wait, that's the first time Jim has seen me as a deer too, right?
Yep.
And that's why he glared.
Yeah.
That's why he's a glare, but like, nope, I forgive you.
I'm not used to getting to work with other people on this. I'm usually by myself. Thanks. This is more fun than they usually are, although a little bit more hectic. This is gross, but if it doesn't go right, somebody can have the truck. It's whatever. I have to say, I don't recommend the hiking trails in the Greater Charming area. It's not safe around here. I don't recommend it. I can't recommend it to anybody. I'm gonna have to, if I survive, you'll never, I swear to God, I'll make it my mission. You will never have another hiker in this area again. This place sucks.
I'll give like that like deer snort, and then there's like the sturdy like foot stomp, and just like kind of crouch into position.
All
He's
right.
ready.
And Thomas will close himself behind the door.
Yep. And I said, well, if anyone was worried about me turning you guys in after all this, you're all in luck. All the evidence was in the car, and I'm pretty sure my car blew up. So everyone's off the hook.
That's great. I was gonna have to get rid of that tape from the hospital anyway, so that's a nice clean button on that.
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah. Thanks for making me a believer, and screw you guys for making me a believer. This sucks.
I felt the same. If that helps.
And I go to Thomas and say, "Hey, maybe this will help bar him under the water if you can get." I give him handcuffs.
I imagine this will help a great deal. And Thomas will stick the handcuffs in his back pocket.
With that, assuming there's no more final notes for anybody
Is
to
this a
give
bad
each
time
other.
to tell Will he's adopted?
I
It
would
would
wait.
probably be a pretty fucked up time. to
I'd
say
wait.
it,
I'd
yeah.
wait. I'd wait. I'd tell him tomorrow.
might,
Come on.
might throw him off his game. I'm
I'd
not
throw him
gonna
off the
lie.
game a little bit for sure. I
What?
have just kind of a boring question. What does psychic armor look like on Will Graham?
It looks like for the people who are psychically inclined, which is 2 of you, you guys see a spectral knight's armor around Will. But for everybody else, you see
God.
nothing. You
That's
see
great.
nothing at all.
That goes great.
And Jessica, you see that, and you look at the sword on your hip, and you kind of shrug your shoulders, but it seems like there might be something there. You're not sure. We then look back up to Jim as he closes the trapdoor, walks back to the door frame there, racks around into his pistol, and breathes in, and you hear a crack as a branch is broken on the ground underfoot by the woods nearby. You look over and you see movement. You see a person in tattered clothes walking forward. Clothes that, at closer inspection, are hospital gown garb. This is somebody who was killed previously at the hospital event. You see it walking forward. What do you do?
Jim carefully tries to sneak around, get himself into a little vantage point, see if he can lure this thing in. Make sure that he's also, if you can hear if there's any more. Kind of
Yeah, you start circling around. Roll read a bad situation plus sharp.
So that is a 9.
A 9, you can hold 1. You can ask one of these questions. What's my best way in, best way out? Are there any dangers I haven't noticed? What's the biggest threat? What's most vulnerable? And what's the best way to protect the victims? There are no victims, but there's your friends. So that could be a question you ask.
Yep. Are there any other threats I'm not noticing?
Yeah, you hear this one step, and your training kicks in, and you realize this is probably just a decoy. It stepped too loudly. It seemed like maybe it was trying to draw your attention, and you whip and look the other way, and you see 3 more creatures crawling towards the church slowly, covered in mud and leaves and sticks as they crawl forward. This was essentially something to draw your attention. It was a trap, and you do see there are more.
So Jim gets himself into a little vantage point using a little bit of the rope that he had. He ties it around the bait, taking a few sticks here and there. Also ties it around the section where the door is, keeping it hidden itself.
Mhm.
Seeing if it can at least. I'm taking the door opens on the inside going in, so at least if they go in, they can at least trip, get himself into the little vantage point if they get by him, and then he puts himself into a little dark corner, just waiting for them to enter. See how many come in at a time. He still has a lighter, a couple matches, And the last thing he had up his sleeve that he didn't have to use, some bug spray.
Oh, yeah, a good old fashioned
Right.
flamethrower. You tie off this rope really quick, pull it taut, as the doors will eventually swing open as they step over. They will trip over it, and you've got your weapons at the ready. The first one making a lot of noise is the one who approaches this door first. And it swings them open, and they bang against the pillars that are still standing. And it steps forward, not noticing the rope below it. It catches and trips forward, and thud! Down below, dust falls from the ceiling. Thomas, Charles, Jessica, and Connor, you see it fall down into the water and get swept away. Something banged above. Jim, what are you doing as this thing falls face first?
This is the first one.
The first one.
So the first one, Jim quickly, like a spider monkey, jumps over top of it, trying to take the knife, and then just try to go for the neck, try to keep its hands right over its mouth, see if it doesn't alert anything. He's just trying to kill this thing off as silently as possible. So use ambush.
All right, yeah. So tell me what ambush does specifically.
So he attack from ambush, inflict +2 harm.
Ooh,
I
nice.
don't know if it's an additional +2 harm or just.
It's an additional +2 harm for whatever harm you're doing.
So he's just taking his little knife with a little dash of the brass knuckle at the same time.
Yeah.
So that's what kicks him at. So 10.
10. 10 plus, you get to choose an extra effect. You've already chosen it, and essentially what you're doing here is keeping it, you're forcing it where you want it into a position where it can't call out. You grab it by the mouth and stab into the chest twice. What damage do you get with that? What does your knife do?
So with this knife,
I think it's going to be 2 harm for a
2.
regular knife.
2.
And then +2 from your ambush.
So 4.
4. You leap down, grab it by the mouth, stab twice in the chest, and it instantly slackens in your hands. And you drop it, and it slams down onto the ground. And you stomp on its head to make sure that it's thoroughly dealt with, and it shatters. You look back out that now shattered window, and you see those 3 forms have gotten incredibly close, and they are climbing up over through the windowsills here, directly. They make direct eye contact with you as you kill this thing. These 3 have entered.
Okay, so they're coming through the windowsills. So at that point, Jim just sees if he can just draw their attention to him. He's still got the rope right in front of him. Bring it on, see if he can knock him over. So he just starts filleting up. Over here! Over here! Go and get some, you. And then pulls out a pistol, shoots the first one to the left.
Yeah, roll to kick some ass.
Ooh. That's 7.
7. With a 7, you're going to inflict harm on each other. So that's going to be 2 harm from you. This is not from an ambush position. And it will be 2 harm from them as well. You blast out with your gun, firing. This thing picks up a loose piece of burnt wood and throws it at you, and it stabs you into the side. It rips through, blood spills out. You take 2 harm. This thing takes 2 harm, and the other 2 are running directly at you as that thing recoils from this gunshot. Everybody downstairs, you hear the muffled pop of gunfire from above. Jim, keep it going. What are you doing?
So,
Oh, Jessica, did you have something?
I think we're not. Can I ask the same question twice?
Yeah, you can hold, as long as you're holding it, doesn't matter. You can ask it
Okay.
again.
I'm just gonna see where he is.
You send out your extrasensory perception, and it is in the tree line nearby, but it is not inside the church where the other ones are.
Okay. All right. I'll say then. It seems like these are just some distractions, and then I can yell to Jim and see if he needs help.
You call. Here's the thing. You call up. But you see, as you're getting ready to yell, you see Thomas shake his head no.
Right now, as far as that thing's concerned, it's entirely possible that it believes that Will is down here and that Jim is up there. If Jim goes through with his, frankly, suicidal plan and runs off and the other ones follow him, it might think only Will is down here. If we yell, whatever it might have thought, it knows. I know it sucks, but I just don't see another way.
Jessica wipes a tear.
Yeah, Jessica, you wipe a tear away. Jim, you're up
Jim,
top, a shot
so-
leveled, 2 more running at you. What do you do?
So Jim slowly backs up back into the door, trying to lead him into the rope. He realizes the only thing he can try to do is just try to lure these things as far as he can. And then whenever he can, he's got a little bit of mini flamethrower if he needs to, his blast knuckles. So he just lures him into the doorway, at least, maybe get a little pop shot, and then because he's wounded, just try to get as far as possible. Every
Jim?
second counts.
I'm going to say in this moment, you're not rolling to kick some ass. You might be blasting just to keep their attention, but you're not going to hit. Right now, you're acting under pressure. Roll plus cool.
Also, we're going long. In case anybody's, if you're in chat, we're going long.
Oh, yeah.
Can I pull off a luck, or is that-
For sure.
Okay, because that was a freaking 4.
The only
I
thing
got
you
a
have to keep
3.
in mind is if you burn all of your luck, you are doomed.
Yeah,
And there's some ramifications.
I've only done it once.
Nice, yeah, just a minute ago. So most of you didn't really burn luck for this adventure, which makes sense.
That's good.
No,
No, we all
it was good.
didn't burn a lot, which is good for all of
Except
us. That
for
we all
maybe a
didn't.
couple of you.
It's good that
maybe.
none of us burned a bunch.
None, yeah, not
As
one of
cheesy
you.
as it might be, or I'll try, not overly cheesy, but for this, trying to at least be something heroic. So he burns a little luck and tries to just lure them in.
Yeah, Jim, you are running for this door. You realize almost too late that rope trap you had set up was about to trip you. And it would have been a terrible fate to succumb to. You look and at the last moment step right over it, stumble, blast those doors open, and start running down the steps. These 3 monsters chase after you, rushing towards you. You are not going to be able to make a lot of speed on them. They're not going to get past you. But with a 12 plus, you are keeping pace. You're keeping them about 10 feet away so they can't get their hands on you, their stones on you. They might be able to throw something pretty soon here, but you're keeping that distance, luring them away. You keep running. You run maybe 50 yards, and then you're older than you once were. Your training's worn off a bit. You start panting and heaving, and they are getting closer and closer and closer. You're a football fields away from this church. You see it fading in the distance as you enter into this tree line. You are losing visual sight of it. Every step you take is more time for your allies to survive, but those steps are getting numbered. You have your hairspray, your bug spray in your hand. You have a match, a lighter ready to go. And pretty soon here, you're going to need to do it.
Mm-hmm.
You take a few more steps. Roll me one more act under pressure.
We'll put that at a 9.
A 9. You can keep running. You can get another maybe 20 yards, just more time for your friends, but you're going to take some damage. And it might be enough damage to kill you. Or you can stop, turn, and try and kill these things right now. What are you doing?
Jim turns around, surrounded by enough brush. What he decides to do, just examining, he decides to take a little bit of the little bug spray and his little lighter. He ends up singeing around him a little miniature firewall. See if they would cross through. As a little way to say how back off. Using the trees as well, potentially as a shield, they try to throw their weapons. What he's trying to do is actually see if they actually will throw him. And despite his old age, is going to take the risk of if he can at least disarm him, there might still be at least a little chance.
Yeah,
Damage him as much as he can.
you light this firewall in an attempt to get them to use their ranged options, and it catches in this dry brush here. Are you using a match or a lighter?
A lighter. A
You
little cigar lighter.
you spray this and you light it, and you click the lighter shut, and you hear the steps getting closer. And where you thought they might have tried to throw their weapons at you, they instead throw themselves directly into the flames to get at you. The one who is down to very, very limited health immolates. It burns away. Its hand catches you on the foot, and then its fingers curl as it dies. The other two blast through, completely engulfed in flames. They are still coming for you. The first one is going to do 2 damage to you as it bursts out and a flaming hand catches you on the collarbone. You feel it snap, and your shirt begins to catch fire as well. 2 damage. Are you still up?
1 more to go. And at this point, got 2 on.
2 on.
Jim, realizing that he did his time, grabs on to both of them with the last of the strength he has, bleeding out, and drives them with himself into the fire that he created.
You grab them. Roll, kick some ass, plus tough.
Please. I mean, if I need to.
What kind of
Stuff.
bug spray does Jim? What off-market, what black market bug spray does Jim Duggins have?
It's that old school deep
Oh,
It's
Yeah,
it's
100% deep.
Yeah, just poison.
He just keeps the ticks away. And he goes in with a 12.
There we
A
go.
full
There we go.
success.
Yeah, a 10 plus 2. He said tough. Yep.
Jim, you grab onto both of these creatures, flaming. Your skin singes. One of them bites down onto your neck, ripping through the muscle and the sinew. The other one swings a fist and catches you in the sternum. The wind gets knocked out of you, and you take them down into the flames, and you kill all 3 of the ghouls. But unfortunately, the ghouls kill you as well. We cut back to the church. These sounds of combat have faded away. But suddenly you hear a footstep creak on the floorboards above, and creak, and creak. And it looks around, and you hear the floorboards lift. The trapdoor opens and slams against the floor. Down the steps, creak, creak, creak. A man steps through. Somebody who you see has its occipital lobe essentially shattered, looks around left and right as it walks through, and the first thing it sees is Will. It pulls a stone out of its pocket and lifts it into the air.
And Thomas will slam into the door into it.
The door slams, catches into this man, Kane. As Jessica calls out that this is him, you can feel the presence of Kane here. All of you, Thomas, Jessica, Charles, Connor, you know that this is the man himself. The
I feel like
door
we should all roll
slams
initiative.
again.
What's happening?
Yeah, right. Kane, are you rolling to do some damage, or are you
Mainly just trying to start the. It seemed like the narrative thing to do. I'm not really protecting anybody from him.
This is kind of a protect someone. I'm going to say you don't have to roll for it. You're kicking things off. You're slamming the door, and the stone he's about to throw tumbles and goes off straight into the water. As it kerplunks, his eyes open wide, and he looks around the space truly for the first time, not for his prey, but for this danger that he didn't see before.
And Thomas will clunk, shut the door.
I'm gonna bind
Scoosh.
him too.
You're gonna bind him. Jessica, you hold your hands out. I assume you say some sort of incantation directly from the heart. Something you've never read. It's just something you know to say. And as you do it, you feel this wavering presence through this body that
Yeah, it
Kane is
goes a little
possessing.
something like "fuck you."
Yeah, an incantation from the soul. Fuck you. I think that's perfect. You you scream that out and roll weird.
I believe. Do you believe in miracles?
5 plus 3.
That's a mixed success. For
How do I know if I have a luck or not?
you have everybody starts with like 5 luck, I
Yeah,
think.
so it's
something like
right below
And I've
weird.
never used
that. No,
Yeah,
them.
you've
you
never
have a
used it.
luck
You
bar.
can just
So
have a
maybe
full
now is a
success.
good time.
Now's a good time.
Now could be a good time.
Yeah, Jessica, you burn this bit of luck. You feel like a piece of your soul shred away. Maybe your magic, something burns away as you do this. And suddenly, Kane's eyes that were already wide seeing the water widen further, knowing that there's nowhere he can run now. The door shut behind him, and his soul locked into this form. He whips around, and he is going to swing directly towards Jessica, knowing that she's keeping him bound. Jessica, you're going to take 3 harm. Ignore armor as Kane in full force
Okay.
swings
All right.
down and catches you across the shoulder, shattering a bone. You feel it crack in your arm. Luckily, you don't need your arms to perform your magic. You have magic. 3 harm, ignore armor. You're looking pretty good. I don't think you've really taken any damage up to this point. You let out a scream, and Will, seeing this, starts just emptying his rounds into this man. He takes 3 shots, and he takes a few points of harm there as Will levels his weapons. Thomas.
Unholy strength. Thomas will uh uh just reaches out and grabs like given what you've described, I shut the door. He turns his attention to Jessica, and Thomas just wraps his hands around his waist. And I think because it's plus weird instead of plus tough, I think as far as Thomas is concerned, he like jumps, but Thomas does not realize how far he is, and so everybody else sees Thomas like jump like 10 feet that way with
Yeah,
no
straight
run.
over.
And tries. Well, it's definitely a kick some ass because I'm shooting for that foursome where you want him. So we're gonna see how this rolls.
This is kick some ass. But first, Connor had a prepared action here as Jessica locks him into place. Thomas, you leap forward. At the same time, Connor, you pull the trigger on your sniper rifle, aiming for this man's leg. Roll to kick some ass.
Cool. All right, cool.
Why am I
So that
nervous?
is that is 9 plus 2, so that's an 11.
Yep.
And then that is 100% going to be precise shot.
Yeah, all right. So what occurs with your precise shot?
That's the extra harm.
It's gonna be 5 harm, I think.
Right now it's at 4 harm, just
Okay.
from my sniper. I'm just trying to
Ooh.
find the move, and then precise strike.
Adds 2.
So
It
it's
adds
6
2.
harm.
So if I just have to roll to make sure the precise strike hits.
Now, Spencer, how much does that feel like a +1 or a +2? Maybe like how much if you had to put it into the Spencer computer? If you had to,
I think it's going to be a +2 on your kick some ass because its leg is going to get blown off. That's a crazy amount of damage.
All right, so that was a 4 plus 4, 4 plus 4 plus 2, so that is a 10. So it is 2 harm.
You
So 6
Black
harm
through.
total.
It catches this thing directly in the patella and it explodes. The leg falls apart. It lets out not even a scream of pain, more an utterance of shock. It didn't expect this, and it's feeling pain that it can't escape because it can't leave the body. At the same time, Thomas, you leap 8 feet out and you grab around it. What was the total of your roll?
I haven't rolled yet. I'm nervous. I was biding my time.
Yeah.
I will
It
help out
is-
for that one too.
Okay, yeah. Go
Okay.
ahead and do the help
Because
out.
I rear up my legs and start kicking it to like propel it.
the scariest
You
creature.
kick it in the direction of Thomas, so that way he's off center with no leg.
And that's a 10.
10, yeah. So you're gonna get a +1,
Okay.
Thomas.
4,
So
5,
plus
6,
3.
7. So it's 4. So I rolled a 7, +3 for weird. Were you joking? Do I get a +1 from Michael's thing or no?
Yeah, no, you do. You get a +2 from Michael's thing. You get +1 from Charles, so you get a 13.
That kicks me into 12, and I took the advanced move for kick some ass. I don't think terrible harm. I don't think double harm is actually helpful. How much? He did 3 harm on that last attack.
Yeah, he
Right?
did 3 harm, ignore armor.
Okay. So then for my 10 plus effect, force them where you want them. And for my 12 plus, you suffer no harm at all. So
Oh yeah.
I grab him around and leap. And it's enough force that like Thomas's cheeks go like blah, blah, blah. Like it is so much that he doesn't swing around with the rock like he normally does, and they both go headfirst into the drink.
The water splashes out. It is such a massive tsunami of force that all of you get sprayed by the river here. Jessica, as the water touches you, you feel your magic pull away for a moment, and then it locks back in, and you keep him locked in. As he touches down in the water, your magic lifts away from him. But you know that in the water, his magic can't activate either. He wasn't able to flee, and now that he's in the water, you're not able to hold him, but you don't need to. So you are free to cast whatever magics you want now. Thomas, you take a deep breath as you splash into the water and then hold it, and you're holding him as tight as possible, inhumanly tight, in fact. And he pulls out from his waist a black blade, and he pulls it backwards and swings, and you sideswipe it just a bit. You take no damage as he tries to stab you. You pull away, and you're pulling him deeper and deeper into the water. You look, and you see the manacles dangling above you.
So that was my question. Am I like immediately whipping downstream?
Not yet. But you know that as the rounds progress, you are going to get pulled further away. It's not super fast right now.
I think it's got to be priority 1, stab him. Priority 2, live. Right? The world's on the line. I have the knife, right? Like we had to have done that.
Yeah, for sure.
It's not on my list. That's all. Okay.
You would have Jessica had it, but after you discussed who would be jumping in, it would have been handed over.
Okay, then Thomas, after having tackled him we're in the water, and he like comes up a little bit, his eyes open, and as he dodges out of the way of this black blade that like swings past his head, Thomas reaches behind his back and pulls out the knife from the office. And I mean, I wanted to describe something better than I stab him, but guys, I think I stab him. Like,
sometimes the core violence of man is what needs to happen, and that's what you're doing here. You're just swinging a blade.
And I think there is again, in the $3 million version of this show, we would have seen a scene earlier of Kane with like a rock over his head, and we see Thomas like holding Kane by the front of his shirt in the same gesture go to try to stab down. I'm going to roll plus weird for unholy strength. Now this is interesting. I don't know if it takes 1 stab. We didn't really do a lot of work to find that out, did we? We didn't really do our homework on that one. That is a 9. That is a mixed success. I'm going to keep the mixed success. I'm going to save my luck because I don't know if he's about to die or not. So I will do the harm. We do harm to each other. I have no idea how much harm this knife does.
You stab down directly into this thing's chest, trying to get the heart. It glances off of his essentially breastplate, his bone there, and it glances through, ripping in. You see the water fill up with this red, murky blood, and it does 3 harm to him.
Cool.
He stabs out with his blade, and it catches you in the side, and it does 3 harm. You have no armor because it has been put on will.
I am extremely unstable.
I think seeing the blood pooling, I'm gonna like dive in there and try to like pin him into the water.
For the
Yeah.
record, I have 1 hitbox remaining.
I'm also diving in, not in hopes of pinning him. I'm to bring him out to get Thomas out because I think he might go unconscious.
Thomas looks extremely confused as everybody else dives in, and Thomas realizes that we really didn't talk this plan through too much, and goes like, "Brr," expecting bubbles to come out, and just blood goes out of his mouth
Yeah.
up into the water above him.
Charles, you leap in trying to pin Kane further down into the depths.
Jessica and Will just look at each other alone.
Should we? I'm not jumping in there, so I don't.
I'm certainly not. They told me explicitly not to. If anything, I should probably run upstairs just to get out of here.
I mean, I
Yeah.
guess. Listen, if they all die, we just run. I guess.
If they all die, I'm probably just gonna start shooting again. Honestly, I don't know. And we look back as Charles, you pin down. So this is gonna be probably kick some ass, force them where you want them. So hope for a 10+.
And I got a 13.
13.
Hey.
You deal harm and you force them where you want them. So I'm going to assume that is essentially off of Thomas's ribs and a little bit deeper. Connor, your plan, I'm gonna point out one flaw, and that is
It's
if you pull him away, the blade will be pulled away.
I'm not pulling away yet. I'm
So you're
there.
ready if he falls
Yes,
unconscious to pull. You're doing
exactly.
lifeguard duty. I see.
Yes.
There's not like there is no unconscious, right? Is there
It's
an
a great
unconscious?
question.
Is there? Where's
I-
harm? Where's my sheet? I have a cheat sheet here.
It might be part of unstable.
8 harm or more will kill a normal human, including a hunter. Now, I do see a very telling line on the bottom of harm that maybe we all should have read through our sheets a little bit more closer, which says, monsters may not be defeated until you use their weakness against them. That does not sort of say the weakness instantly kills the monster. It sort of says, if you stab them with the mortality dagger, you've made them mortal.
And I did do 3 damage with my attack too.
3 damage, nice. Your antlers stab into it in sort of a dark, macabre version of what it had just done to Thomas. Its ribs shatter, blood pools out again. Connor, you dive in with a hand on Thomas's collar, ready to pull him out at the last moment, if necessary. Jessica, you're up there seeing this occur. Is there anything you're going to do from up here?
I can't use my magic.
No.
So.
Bummer.
You do have a blade that might be magical. I'm putting that out there. You do have a crazy sword.
Listen, I have it.
Yep.
I have it.
I'm just putting that out there. Just saying.
He's just putting all the options out on the table.
I'm just letting you know
If
you do
I-
have something that could work maybe if
I
you wanted
mean,
to.
like, if all of a sudden it's been a couple minutes and, like, y'all are dead, like, I guess it's
There's no
me.
more bubbles coming
I
up.
guess it's freaking me. Like, I don't
Jessica's like,
know.
any minute now.
This
They're-
is so good.
I will say my sniper rifle's up there right now. So you want to take a shot?
I mean, I have a shotgun. But
You
like,
guys just
I don't
see-
think this is gonna.
You see the sonic waves of bullets whipping past you. You're like, whoa. No.
They're just
All
going
right.
in random directions.
In that case, Charles, you do suffer harm as you leap in. You did not choose the effect suffer little harm, so you take 3 harm as the blade is pulled from Thomas and stabbed into your leg. It kicks and cramps as the blade punctures you and then pulls out. It is 3 harm, ignore armor. Okay. We are essentially back at the top of initiative. Everybody's done something. Thomas, you are wrestling this thing. Charles has pulled it down further. You have a wide open view.
I want to ask the most direct question I can for the highest chance of success. do I get the sense that now that it has been stabbed, anything will do it, or do we need to continue to stab? I don't know if there's a way for me to roll that or to know that. I'm not trying to metagame. It's just my only concern, because if I use magic, I have a higher chance of succeeding than if I do my whole unholy strength, toughness, wackadoo. I'm fine either way. I just need to know which it is.
I'm going to say you can roll plus weird to answer this question. You can't, yeah, that's also true. Inside the water, you can't use magic anyways. We've shown it evaporating away every time you touch the flowing water.
The psychic thing is magic. Like those things
Yeah,
are.
that also is included.
Then I stab him.
Yep.
Then I stab him.
I will tell you this anyways. You need to kill him with the blade.
Gotcha. Then Thomas is truly on the brink. He is barely there, and pulls it and rears back to bury it in his chest again.
Yep. You lift up.
There's not another thing to do. I'm burning a luck. I was trying to avoid it because I've burned a lot already. I was trying to not, and then I rolled snake eyes.
Ooh.
Does that doom you?
No, but
And
we're
can
getting. I can mess up. You could say about one more time.
About once.
About once.
Can the
Thomas will rear back, and we see this flash of the school and the prom, and we see him and his friend Steve just behind a car, like shaking and so afraid, hearing people scream and not doing anything. And neither of them are even hurt. They just ran. They ran when they saw what was happening, and then he's got this, and he's like, and in his head he's like, we're not running now. And grabs him and goes for it again, and burns the luck and gets a 12, which means I get my advanced kick some ass.
Oh yeah.
And you're never gonna believe this. I will die if I don't. And as much as I think it would be cool to die in the last scene, Thomas is not done with his worldly business. Yeah. So, what are you about to say?
Oh, could my from my attack, the force him where I want him? Could it be that I force him so that if he stabs at Thomas, it only has to go through me first? So that I'm like a meat shield.
I have the option to take
that arm.
I think so. Instead, what you're doing here, you're forcing him where you want him, which was basically off of Thomas to begin with. So you're not going to get the chance to block him with your body, but where you want him is not stabbing him in the ribs.
But this all works out because I was debating taking inflict double damage, but again, while I think it would be dramatically fun, Thomas would like to live. So for his 12 plus, he will take suffer no harm, and for his 10 plus, he will take inflict terrible harm plus 1 harm. So instead of doing 3, he will do 4 harm to Kane and take no harm himself.
Everybody leaping in after Thomas, Jessica and Will as the last line of defense here, Jim sacrificing his life to give the party a chance at success. Thomas, you lift the blade in the water, you bring it down. It is like moving through Jell-O. It's just impossible to swing the blade quickly, and it hits in the chest with Charles holding him down and Connor ready to pull you up. You feel the blade catch in the chest. You take your other hand, you push down, and you feel it break through his chest into his heart. His eyes open wide. He bubbles blow up, and the light in his eyes fade, and he sinks down deeper into the water. You see him getting pulled away as Connor pulls you up. You have slain Kane. In the waters of a running river with the obsidian blade, Kane has been defeated.
Let's go! Oh my god. Absolutely wild. Thank you for the subscribe, Damon. Way to catch the finale, brother.
The party gathers at the top of this river mouth, and Will stands up looking. He sees you all emerge. He is elated. He sees you're all breathing. Thomas maybe a little bit rough, maybe not breathing quite as well as he'd hoped. And he locks eyes with Jessica, and he does plant a big old kiss.
Let's go.
You're adopted.
What? And with that, the party has survived their first monster hunting mission,
Oh my god.
and we end the Prince of Charming. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in to
Uh,
this, I would say short, but in a very meaningful way, long adventure of 9 episodes
it's
to
funny
the
because
end.
it's a short for an actual play, but for
Yeah.
Monster of the Week, this
Pretty
was
sizable.
Titanic.
So thank you all for joining us for this. We have a new campaign coming up pretty soon here that is going to be led by Ethan, aka Thomas Puck here. And we're all going to be playing in it, so we're looking forward to it. You can catch that in the next couple weeks here. We're going to post some stuff on our YouTube with information about it. But thank you all. And that is the conclusion of The Prince of Charming. We might have a talk back session sometime this week where we talk about what occurred. But I would like to know, where do all of our players, our characters end up?
I was about to ask.
Yep, we got to have an epilogue. So we're going to go, I think, in reverse order on my screen. That's going to be Thomas, then Nick, Thomas, Jim, Jessica, Connor, Charles. Thomas, what happens immediately after this? Where do you go? What do you do?
I would love to say that some beautiful and satisfying moment happens. What happens immediately after this is we cut to Thomas in that same hospital, covered in stitches and bandages with an IV. Up above him, we can see that somebody has set up a TV in his room, and that playing on VHS is one of the Indiana Jones movies. The sheriff came by and dropped off like an old CRTV.
Oh, yeah.
And so Thomas is just laying in there in repose, kind of like still not looking good. He has a yellow legal pad and is writing just a scathing review of the hiking trails in the charming Mississippi area. And then as the bit kind of comes to a close, he reaches over and picks up the receiver on the phone next to his bed, and calls out to get a hold of a couple of his network. Eventually, he starts by calling Daryl Wyndham, a friend of his that he actually calls to say, like, an area is dangerous. Daryl is one of those people that writes, like, travel guides. And so Daryl puts out in a bunch of his travel guides that, like, you need to be careful in the charming area and to beware of it. And then he calls Scott Green, his friend that owns WMCR, the radio station, and tells him a little bit about everything. And he basically calls all of these, like, some of them fancy themselves cryptozoologists, some of them fancy themselves monster hunters, but he calls each of them down a list of like 9 and tells them what happened, because this is kind of his ritual at the end of things like this. And he's laying in bed, sitting back watching it. And he looks over and there's a glass of water sitting on his stand, and he looks around. And we see the water start to bubble. And we roll credits on Thomas Puck.
Thomas steps away from the spotlight here. He is ready to emerge into a new adventure. Next, Jim, unfortunately, what we see is a small but tasteful funeral. You have probably more of a turnout than Jim ever thought he would have in the process of making these allies. Thomas, Connor, Charles, and Jessica all appear for your services to say their final goodbyes, their thank yous, their we wish we would have's. But you get the American flag burial. You get the gun salute sending you off. And Jim does join his brothers, the people he lost, the people he wanted to remember for as long as he could. He is able to join them once again.
And I think also on that note, years down the road, you find out that the college has turned his old shack into a greenhouse. Purple cone flowers.
After a number of bomb disposal squads spent the whole weekend there diffusing an amount of ordnance that you're not even allowed to have in this half of the world.
There is one extra purple cone flower in this garden for Jim.
Yep.
We go to Jessica. Jessica, what happens after this?
I'm gonna say that obviously she goes back to school, tries to be normal, but also I think she, you know, kind of learns to try and accept these powers a little bit. And in doing so, she helps remove whatever was put into Will or whatever he was born as. I think that they spend some time together figuring that aspect out. Kind of delving into his background and sort of like figuring that out for him. Like getting some answers. Obviously, he's like Loki, an orphan. That's awful, but is he? Like, we're gonna try and investigate. But yeah, she'll try and use her powers to sort of, remove this entity if it's possible to do that.
Jessica, all of the clues you find lead you back to one place. It's a now sizable city in Massachusetts, but was previously just a small village.
Get out of here.
Maybe you'll find the answers one day, but that is not today. The one takeaway you have is that even after dealing with this threat, you still have your magic. You never learned what happened to the witch who escaped, but she didn't take the powers with her. That's also a question for another day. Connor, you are a believer, but that doesn't mean the FBI is. What's it look like for you?
All right. So I am back at the agency with report in hand. I have given the tale of Kane, him coming back, but I have, instead of, I would say not red list, but I have whitelisted my crew. They are obscene of any incriminating information. If anything, they are as normal people can be. They shall not be looked into. But I'd like to. This is Ethan's character, so he gets a say in it.
Bum, 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 bum,
Uh,
bum, bum.
uh, I want to make Thomas an informant for the FBI for things strange and for things that go bump in the night, so he has access to more information.
Everybody who leaves with
And-
one of Thomas Puck's business cards with his email.
Yes.
And if you ever want to get back into the game, you just hit me up anytime.
Yep. An impromptu partner of mine for things needed. And then lastly, I ask where my next assignment will take me, and I think that they tell me Salem.
Oh, yeah.
Oh no!
That's the next flag that pops up. Connor, you have been put on the case of these jobs. The FBI is nothing if not open-minded to the supernatural, and they believe that you have found proof of something. They're not sure exactly what, but you are. And knowing what you know, being in contact with Jessica, talking with Thomas, and working with the FBI, you are put on another lead, and you are ready to move on to Massachusetts next. Charles, what happens?
All right, so I guess like there's a small herd of deer that like start kind of like tromping through the campus at night, and like as they're approaching the purple coneflowers, like this like strange creature kind of approaches them and like kind of communicates with them and gives them a commandment to like leave the food here alone and to like for their generations to never touch it and let it thrive. And kind of like impacts that memory to like the deer and the rabbits and things in this area. And then like as like the highway sounds roar in his ears, and then like laughter of like people in the dormitories, and like a book slams, and he like has that like impact from all the gunfire and violence of humanity, he kind of like starts to like get a little woozy with like the city life here, and just kind of like sprints off deep into the woods. And that's like the last time he is ever seen.
Charles has set up a sort of wilderness preserve almost in the surrounding area. The animals know not to touch the purple cone flowers. And with that final commandment, Charles, you set off into the woods and you take on the shape of this deer man hybrid. And maybe people see you, but you don't interact with them. you stay away. And that is where the chapter closes on Charles and on this adventure as a whole. Thank
Let's
you,
go.
everybody.
Oh my goodness. So
We're
fun.
gonna stick around after this call and chat things out, but that's gonna be the end of the live stream. You can catch us 3 times a week, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Sundays we've got Game Masters, Masters of Games, where me, Ethan, and Michael play through games. We try and master them. Mostly we're pretty bad at them. Right now we're playing Baldur's Gate 3. We're in Act 2. We're gonna get to Act 3 pretty soon. We also played Elden Ring. You can catch that. On Mondays we do this game. Which is The Party Makes Things Worse. This was the Prince of Charming. Next will be a D&D game led by Ethan as the Dungeon Master.
Woo!
That's also 7:30. And then Tuesday, we have one final stream, and that is DM Writer's Room, where me, Ethan, and Michael build out essentially adventures, arcs, campaigns, magic items, classes, etc., you name it, for Dungeons and Dragons and other properties. We also make one-shot or one-page RPGs, all that good stuff. So we demystified the DMing and GMing process on that stream. And that's going to be everything. Please subscribe to us on YouTube if you want to watch our live streams and helpful content and other videos. Do so. You can also follow us on TikTok, where we post memes and some short videos as well. That's it, and we'll see you all on the next stream.
Peace out.
Bye.